Hello, Mama, are you there? Can you hear me? Okay, please, everyone, let's be patient. She's actually on the call, but her mic is muted. Let me try to get her
Good,
to put on her mic.
good
All right,
morning. Can you
ma'am, you
hear
can
me?
take it on from here, ma'am. Yes, yes,
All
I
right,
can
good
hear you.
morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. I asked earlier if the slides could please be projected so that that can be taken off from me, but I don't see the slides just yet. But while we're getting that done, I just wanted to have a feel of the people that we have in the room. Can you please share with me a number? So I'm going to give you three options. Please share with me the number that best describes your case, right? Number one, I have never started a business. Number one, I have never started a business. Okay. Number two, I currently run a business. And number three, I am running several businesses. Okay, I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me very well. Okay, I'm seeing a response from Taiwo Gubanwo. Okay, so she's number two. She's currently running a business. Okay, number one, good morning, Pretty Beauty. She says number one is her option. Okay, okay, I'm seeing your responses. Thank you. Let's keep them coming. I'm just trying to get a feel of the participants we have in the room. So I'm seeing one and two. I've not seen three just yet. One, I've not started a business. Two, I'm currently running a business. And three, okay, Aruna Obot has just told us that he is running several businesses. Okay, so it's a pleasure to be here once again. Um, Transformation College team, I would really appreciate the slides if you don't mind. That would really help.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
but in the
on
meantime,
it, so
okay,
it's
awesome, awesome. Thank you very much. So welcome again, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Ojuolape, and I will be taking the session today. Just a bit of a background, right? 10 years ago, I started a business. So let me backtrack before that. I finished University of Lagos with a degree in economics, right? I finished with the first class. And so, of course, you would normally expect that multinational banking sector, consulting, those kind of jobs that it looks like a first class participant would normally, first class graduate would normally pursue, right? But I did my NYC and then I worked briefly and then I decided to do something that is a bit different, what you call the road not usually taken, as they would say. I decided to go into entrepreneurship, right? A couple of years after starting business, I then went for a master's at Imperial College London, and that master's was in innovation, entrepreneurship, and management. So, on the one hand, I was running a business, and on the other hand, I also went to business school to learn about entrepreneurship. I'm sharing that background to give you an idea of, who I am and why I'm in the room today to share with you on entrepreneurship. Okay, so that is my experience. And as far as what the business was doing, so it's an online store for fresh food stuff. Instead of going to the market for things like a goosey, pepper soup powder, uncooked food items, essentially beef, pepper, vegetables, all of that stress. Instead of going to the market and, stressing yourself, negotiating with the sellers, we do all of that and we bring the items home to you. We also add value by cleaning the items. So when you receive your pepper, it has been rinsed, the bottom has been cut off so that you can just easily use it at your convenience. So that's what the business is about. Okay, so that's a bit of a background about me. And so before we move on, I just want you to share with me this morning. I've seen, a number of people from I've not started a business to I'm currently running a business to I'm running several businesses. But could you please share with me in the chat section your expectations for this session? What are you looking forward to, from looking forward to getting out of this 3 to 4 hours that we'll be spending here today? Let me know in the comment section what are your expectations for our session today. Please share with me. I'd love to hear. Or I don't know, Madam Mercy, can we unmute people if that is allowed? That would also be fine. If not, please let me have your. Okay. Okay, I'm seeing something from Ediagbimi. Forgive me if I'm Mr. or Madam Omo. Okay, says my expectations is to scale after the class. Okay, Taiwo Gubanwo, who is currently running something, says how to do better in my business. Fantastic. If you have not, Pretty Beauty, I believe that was the name. Yes, number one, which is has not started anything. Can you please share with us your expectations for the session today? I'd really love to understand what you are looking forward to and see how we can be able to achieve something together that is meaningful for your next phase. Okay, so please share with me in the comments. I am looking forward to that. Okay, awesome, awesome. Thank you. I'm seeing Damilola sharing the screen. Thank you very much. Okay, so I've heard from two people about their expectations. If anybody else would like to share, that would be great, so that we can be sure that the program today is tailored and is meeting your needs. Please let me know your expectations in the chat box, or if you can unmute with the help of Madam Mercy, that would also be great. I'm waiting for at least one more person. I think we have a few people on the call. So I'm waiting for at least one more person to share with us their expectations for today before we move on to the next. One more person, if you don't mind. Okay, so in the absence of any other comments, I'll just move on with our session today, right? And we're going to the very, very beginning, right? Our topic today is on entrepreneurship, starting and managing a business. Next slide, please. Okay, so our learning objective. Okay, I'm hearing from Pretty Beauty. Pretty Beauty says, I want to be able to start my business with a pure mindset that my business will thrive, that my business is great, and I want to overcome the fear of starting. Thank you very much. That fear of starting, I believe, is something that is common to many people. When you want to do something new, especially something that you've not done before, you can have that fear of starting, no matter what it is, whether it's a business, whether it's a job, a new lifestyle decision. So that's definitely something. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing. Okay, so our learning objectives for today: what entrepreneurship is. We want to know what it is and why it matters to economic and social development. We want to know how entrepreneurs generate business ideas and identify market opportunities. We also want to do the key components of writing a business plan. So we have always, some of us may have heard that a business plan is important to your business. Okay, so what are some key components that you need to include? What are the financial goals? What are the business goals that you need to include when putting together a business plan for your business? Okay, that's one of the learning objectives. Another thing is, this money matter. How do I fund this business? Okay. What are the options available to me in terms of funding? How do I get money to run this idea that I have? Okay. And then we're now looking at the skills. So, okay, you now have the money. How do you even run this thing? What are some skills that are essential to managing a business? So one, for example, is leadership, marketing, operations, and the finance aspect as well. So we'll be looking at that. And then finally, we want to identify some common challenges that entrepreneurs face and some of the ways that we can overcome them. So altogether, we have 3 hours for the session today. We'll start with 2 hours. We'll take a break of 1 hour, and then we'll meet for the final hour. So that's a bit of, why we're here today and some of the things that the session today will be covering for us. Okay, so can I please have the next slide, please? But before then, can you please share with me? Okay, please go ahead.
Sorry.
Okay. No problem. Can you please share with
Sorry,
me in the
ma'am.
comments? Yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay, so our break is for 30 minutes and not 1 hour. So we'll go for break by 12 to 12:30.
Okay, great.
Yes,
All right.
ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you for the correction. Well noted. Thank you. Okay, so Haruna, who has been running multiple businesses, expecting to learn how to build a strong team structure and strategic planning and resource management. Okay, great. So what is entrepreneurship and why does it matter? Before we look at the content that is before us today, can you please share with us in the comments, what do you think entrepreneurship is? And before we talk about why it matters, what do you think entrepreneurship is? Anybody that is willing to share, please go ahead. If you can share in the comment section, if you can raise up your hand, I believe we might be able to unmute. Madam Mercy, please, is unmuting possible? Please let me know.
Yes, it's small.
Okay, great. Thank you. I hope you can hear me and there are no delays, no internet issues. Just please confirm.
Loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, so is anybody willing to bail us out? When you hear the word, don't worry, in this session, there's no wrong or right answer. Everybody is correct. So don't be afraid. It's not like our university where the lecturer, has their scheme of marking. And if you do not write it exactly, as they said, you're going to fail the exam. Everybody is correct in today's class. So please don't hesitate. Please share your own perspective. I would really, really love to hear your your thoughts. Okay, anybody willing to bail us out? People who have been running businesses, or somebody who is just starting new, please. I know that this is Saturday and I recognize that whenever we have Zoom calls, there are many things happening. When you're in class, you are muted, and until you hear your name, they just say, Mercy, say, it's me. Please, let's be as engaged as possible. I'm hoping that we can maximize our time together. So please, leave that pot of stew. In case you're already cooking it, just leave it aside for a bit, and let's learn together. Okay, so I can see a hand from Haruna Obot. Okay, so please, let me see if I can. I think you're muted. Please, can you go ahead?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Good morning, ma.
Good morning.
Yeah, entrepreneurship, as I may say, it's like a simple or like a process of somebody identifying a problem or some kind of opportunities, like creating a new business idea or going into business projects to address it, and also taking on some financial and personal risk to build a business for profit, because the end result of going to a business is to make profit.
Okay.
I don't know if what I'm saying is clear. I mean,
yes.
The process of someone going into business, identifying a particular form of business, go into it, identify the problems as well, find the opportunities around him, venture into the business, create new ideas, new business projects, and address them, and taking on the associated finances and personal risks to make profits.
Thank you very much. Your response is telling us that you have been in business for quite a while. Thank you very much, Haruna Obot. Thank you for that. We have some answers in the comment section. Entrepreneurship is being able to create and manage your own business. It matters because you don't have to wait for the government for job opportunities. Thank you very much, Pretty Beauty. We have something from Wonder. Entrepreneurship is the art of having a vision to do business. Okay, thank you all so much. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay, so there's something, as Aruna was speaking, I noted down some few points, and I just loved that one way or the other he touched on some very important things. He said identifying opportunities, and we would address these things later, but some things that are, that were important, that were coming out of some of the things he said. Identifying opportunities, okay, and being able to take the risk. There's some level of risk involved, personal risk involved, in entrepreneurship. Then he said something, he said profit. Now, for some people, that profit might be financial. And then we'll also talk about something that is called social entrepreneurship later, where that profit is not necessarily money, but the benefit to you is beyond the finances, okay? So, and then there was something he said new ideas, opportunities, okay? So thank you all so much, for some of the thoughts that you have shared. So let's just take what we have in our content today, okay? Vision and creation is the skill and willingness to create, organize, and manage a business venture. So there's something that happens with entrepreneurship, right? Is this idea of vision, being able to see a difference in the world that you live in. You know, I was talking to somebody yesterday, I was like, the fact that we have the aeroplane today and it can fly, let's say like 300 people at once, okay, with several kg, much more than the, you know, the weight of a normal bird, is because somebody envisioned a world where instead of using our leg to travel from Lagos to Abuja, you know, we can now use the idea of flight. We can copy what the birds do and be able to use that to transport people from one point to the other. So this idea of vision and creation, okay, that's a part of entrepreneurship. Now, this idea of risk and reward, as I said, Aruna mentioned this idea that, you know, as much as we are saying we want to explore this opportunity, it often involves you committing your money, your time, yourself, your attention. And there's a risk because sometimes it results in something bigger than you. Other times, it may not give you the result that you want. So there's definitely some risks involved. But the idea of now understanding what the risks are and seeing how you can mitigate them is also something that we'll talk about later in the course of the program. And of course, we said this idea of reward. He used the word profit. For some people, the reward you are looking for may be financial. For other people, you just want to do good. So when you look at a social enterprise, you're looking at how it can transform society. As I said, we'll talk about that later. But again, this idea of risk and reward also comes to play in entrepreneurship. Anybody that is working for an organization, you resume in the morning, 4 a.m., you wake up in your house in maybe a Limosho, and you know that your job is in VI. By 5, you are out of your house, you have entered bus or you have driven your car. By 7 a.m., you are in the office. Okay, there is something that you are looking for. You are looking for, you know, that fulfillment of the job. Yes, fine, but there's also the financial reward. There are very few people that will do all that stress without knowing that at the end of the month, when my phone does backham like this, my alert is entering and salary is coming into the account. So that's the reward, you know, on the side of somebody who is employed in a 9 to 5. But again, in terms of entrepreneurship as well, there are rewards that people are looking for. And again, sometimes it's financial, sometimes also the fulfillment of I transform the society, I change something about the world that we live in. Okay. And of course, there are diverse forms of entrepreneurship. Okay. From small businesses, there are people that tell you that, beyond this little shop I created in my neighborhood, me, I don't like wahala. I can't go and open shop in more than one area. I want to be resuming in the morning in my shop. When we sell finish, I count my money, I go home. I don't want any problem. There are other people that tell you that, no, I don't want to play small. I want to create a business that we are in Lagos, we are in Port Harcourt, we are in Abuja, we are in Osun, and then we can even go global. Okay, so those are when we say scalable startups. Okay. And then, of course, there are large companies that grow even beyond that initial team, where today, beyond the founder, we now have a management team of 10 people. We have a board of directors. And, you know, some companies even go as far as getting onto the Nigerian Stock Exchange, okay? And, of course, I said before that we have social enterprises where the goal, again, is to just make social change, okay? So there are all sorts of forms of entrepreneurship, and the final decision of which one you will take, you know, would often be dependent on the resources available to you, but also your own personal vision for yourself. Okay, so I hope we're together so far. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll be able to take them together. Can I please have the next slide even as we proceed? Okay, so Pretty Beauty mentioned something that she wants to be able to start. Pretty Beauty, I'm assuming you are female, but in case you are not, my apologies. Okay, so I want to be able to start with a pure. Somebody said something. Maybe it wasn't Pretty Beauty. Somebody said something. I want to start with a pure mindset. Yeah, it was Pretty Beauty. I want to be able to do my business with a pure mindset that my business will thrive. Okay, so you know we're now talking about this idea of the entrepreneurial mindset. It's not just a matter of business. Okay, there was something that Aruna said. He said we are looking for opportunities, and then this is telling us that entrepreneurs are inherently problem solvers. What does that mean? To be able to solve a problem? Okay, now let me give what example can I give? You come to an environment, maybe you just moved to an area in Ibafo, right? And you have 2 daughters. Normally, you don't know how to make hair. You normally just go to salon to make your daughter's hair and your own too, as a female, right? And then you get there, where are they making hair here? No salon, no. you have to travel down to Magoro. I don't know those areas. I'm just mentioning things, but just bear with me if my geography is not correct, but you get what I mean. You get to a new area and there's no particular thing. There's a problem, there's a gap. Where are the hairdressers in this community? There's no hairdresser. Me, I need somebody to make my daughter say, because when they resume on Monday, they said they should do patewo with base and back, and I don't know how to make that style. So that is a problem that you see there. And then the question then comes that how do I even solve this problem? There are several ways to solve that problem. You may decide that, okay, let me start a business. You may decide to meet somebody in Magboro and tell them that, you are doing a hairdresser here, but there's nobody in Ibafo. If you come to this Ibafo, I'm telling you that if you can open shop here, we have at least 100 families that have been traveling all the way to Magboro, that once you come here, you can start off something. Okay, so that's what we're talking about, that there is a problem-solving mindset. Or you are living in an area where they don't have a borehole. Okay, normally you rely on these guys that push truck, that they come with their keg, each 25 kg keg, they sell it so and so amount. And you're like, we need to do something about this water issue. Okay, how do we solve this problem? I hope we're together so far. That's just what we're saying, that as an entrepreneur, your goal is to identify problems and see how you can solve them. Those problems can be as little as, there is no shoemaker in this area to polish my shoe, and I know I must resume sharp in the office. How do we solve this problem? Sometimes you create a service, sometimes you create a product, but essentially your goal is to solve a problem. Now we move on. It says continually adapting to meet community needs and market demands. Usually, to be able to make a successful business, you don't just solve that problem for yourself. I mentioned in the example earlier that there are 100 families living here. They don't have hairdresser. They don't have a salon where they can go to make hair. So in this case, entrepreneurship then goes to meet the needs of the community and the market around you. So it's not just your own needs now. It's not just you having a gap, but now you are looking beyond yourself to be able to meet the needs of others. And that's when you're able to actually build a business. So what are some key traits? Risk-taking and resilience. Okay, let me give an example. Maybe you said, I don't like the way the Malams do. They are not reliable. I want to start my own. There's a risk there because there are people who prefer what already exists. Somebody that you said, okay, I'm in Ibafu, I want to bring a dressing salon here. They tell you that, I prefer my Magboro. I will prefer to travel all the way. I don't know the distance, as I said. Let me give you another example. Okay, so maybe you move to Ikeja. Ikeja is already an established area, but let me just give an example. You move to Ikeja, there's no hairdresser. And somebody says, I normally go to Surulere to go and do this particular hairstyle. Okay, let me make it more practical. Women are now locking their hair, okay? And you move to a neighbor, you don't have somebody to help you retire your locks. And you say, somebody tells you, I normally go to Surulere. And you're like, okay, what if we bring this hairstyle locking, a loctician to this area, okay? And then this question of risk-taking. What if the people that you say you are coming to solve problems for, they say they don't like your own product? Or like a business I talked about, food stuff. What if you said, okay, we are bringing in products from Kano, and on the way, the trailer breaks down, and the 100, what's it called? The 100 baskets of tomatoes, they spoil in transit. There are always risks, no matter the business you do. Even the simplest one, maybe let's even assume that you decide, okay, I want to be a shoemaker. Okay, sorry, what's it called? What do they call this guy? This guy that helps us to brush our shoe, those ones that sew your shoe when it cut. Okay, for every venture, there are risks to be addressed. There are risks that will confront you as a potential business owner or as an entrepreneur. And on the other hand of that coin is also this issue of resilience, because tough times will always come. Let me give an example. During COVID, all of us were at home. Imagine somebody that is running an event center, or those that their business is event planner, where there must be a party for you to see work. There must be a birthday party. There must be a, end of the year party. There must be a burial. Those are the things that help you to get income. And yet, during the year 2021, for some months, people were locked at home. No party, no nothing, no gathering. In that kind of case, resilience is the ability to actually bounce back, where after a while, there have been so many challenges, but despite what is coming at you, you keep bouncing back and bouncing back. That's a very, very important trait in entrepreneurship, no matter how small or how big the business is. Innovation and creativity. This is creativity. This is very important. Sometimes you are entering a sector that they have been doing this thing before, but I want to do it differently. Okay, so there has been Malam in my neighborhood delivering water, but this time I want to create an app where you can just book and tell us to bring your water by 7 p.m. instead of just everybody crowding the few Malams in the area. Let's have an app that shows you, okay, by this time, on Monday, 4 p.m., 6 p.m., 5 p.m., 7 p.m., there's availability for your water to be dropped off in your appointment. That idea of bringing innovation to problems. Look at my own business, right? Well, normally we all go to market. We are either going to Mount 12, we are going to Oyingbo, we are going to Ile-Epo. There are different places that people go to shop. But we are saying, okay, instead of going to the market, why not press on your phone? Tomato, one basket, rodo, half bowl, this and that and that and that, and let them bring it to your home. Okay, so that idea of innovation and creativity, no matter the sector, is something that comes up in entrepreneurship and also makes your business to be distinct, even when you are going to a sector that is not new to people. Okay, strong leadership and vision. Somebody talked about teams. I believe that was Haruna, that I want to have a team and build a sustainable team. This is something that comes into play when you are leading people. You cannot do it on your own, especially if you want to have a business that, goes beyond one man business. You want to have a business. In fact, even if you're running a shop, sometimes you need to have a sales girl. Let's even make it very basic, even a small shop. Or you're running a salon, you cannot do all the hair. Especially if you have a crowd, you may need to have 4 stylists. You may need to have a cleaner, gate man. Those are the people but the ability to lead them to help you to fulfill that vision is something that is also very, very important. Open-mindedness and adaptability. I talked about the COVID example and event planners. Some people started doing, okay, the market is open. They allow people to go to Mount 12. I also know how to go to markets. Let me start doing this foodstuff business because people are locked at home. They need to eat. So some people moved in that period, just very briefly, into a different business, just to be able to adapt while things were going on. There were some people, their work is tailoring. There was no one bed. There was no birthday party. What did they do? They decided to start doing nose mask. Okay, so just being able to adapt as challenges come, no matter how large or small they are, being able to adapt, that is something that is a key trait in entrepreneurship. I hope we're together so far. Okay, all right. So the mindset is not innate. Some people say, they didn't born me with business skills, so I can never do business. I don't know. But we are learning today that it can be learned. Okay, we can build the entrepreneurial mindset. We can also build our skills in the area of entrepreneurship, and we can nurture it through experience and education. I hope we are together so far. Okay, so tell me, let me hear from you in the comment section. Out of these traits that we have described, which one do you think is your strong point and which one do you think is your weak point? Okay, so maybe for some people, if it's a matter of risk, I will be there, I will take risk. But as far as adaptability is concerned, I don't really like problem. I don't like to adapt. I don't like changes. So I don't like adaptability. Let me know in this comment section, out of these key traits that we have described, which is your strong point and which is an area where you still need to improve on yourself. Let me know. Let me know in the comments, or if somebody is willing to speak to us, that would also be great. Anybody? Okay, I am having silence. I hope you can hear me. I don't want to call names. Just feel free to share with us. Okay. All right. So Taiwo is saying that strong leadership and vision is her strength. I believe it's a woman. It's her strength. Okay. Anybody want to share? Okay, let's remove the weakness. So let's pretend that there are no weaknesses. Okay. Yes, please go ahead. Edith Ugochukwu, I thought you wanted to share with us your strong points. Okay, that's a mistake. No problem. All right, so I think we can move on. I've heard from Taiwo. We have about, I would assume, at least 10 people on the call. Okay, so Thank you very much, Omo. Innovation and creativity, I believe, is the person's strong point. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so let's move on to the next portion of our discussion this morning. Next slide, please. Hello.
Next slide, please.
Okay, so I would just prepare your minds. We have quite a few examples that are more related to the US, but as much as possible, would like to bring it home. Okay, so why is entrepreneurship important? That was one of the questions that we had earlier, right? And we're saying that entrepreneurship is an engine of economic growth. When we look at Nigeria, right? Somebody said something, I think it was Pretty Beauty that said it earlier, that being able to start a business and not to wait for the government for job opportunities. Okay, so in many countries, both developed and developing, right? Entrepreneurship plays a very important role by creating jobs for people. You're creating value, but you're also creating jobs. Okay. You are helping other people to also create wealth, even as you are creating wealth, and you're also improving society. So let me give a practical example. Before now, in the olden days, there was Nitel where somebody had to go to a particular point to make a phone call, right? After that, we introduced landline where you have to be in a particular location. If you are not at home and they call, she's not around now, well, please call us back later. You'll be able to reach her then. The phone was not, it was stuck in a position. But with entrepreneurship again, we now have something that is called mobile phone, where 24/7 you are carrying your communication device on you, whether it's in your pocket, it's your handbag. But now we have what is called a mobile phone. Now, those entrepreneurs at every point in time, by creating value, they have improved the society. Now we are able to reach people. If I want to reach, Damilola in the next 5 minutes, I just pick up my phone. Hello, I'm making a phone call and I'm able to reach that person. Okay. So as entrepreneurs, run businesses, they can also improve life for other people. Imagine people that are living abroad. Before, when you have your family members abroad, you can only call them once in a while. Now there's this thing that we call WhatsApp call, even with video. Sometimes even it's almost like you are living in the same place, even though the person is miles and miles away, kilometers away in another country. It feels so close because again we are in constant communication because of devices or solutions like WhatsApp. Okay, so what are some of the statistics? Again, as I said, this has to do with the US, but it's also applicable to Nigeria because entrepreneurship is a very big pillar within our country. In fact, entrepreneurship on the small business definition actually creates more jobs within Nigeria than multinationals do because small businesses are springing up every single day. Okay, so in the US, 55% of new jobs are driven by small businesses. I believe for Nigeria, this figure is even higher, probably in the area of 70% of new jobs are driven by small businesses. Okay, the bulk of the firms in Nigeria, again, are small businesses. Okay, and of course, millions of jobs are created globally by entrepreneurial ventures worldwide, no matter the country. There is always an entrepreneur in one corner or the other. If you go to China, for example, you will go to a restaurant to eat. That is not by the government. It's by an individual that decided to start a business. If you go to Philippines, the person selling you a shoe or the bag, again, it's a business owner who has decided to start an entrepreneurial venture. Okay, so globally, entrepreneurs, drive the economy, because of the value that they create. All right, so that's it for this slide. Let's move on to the next slide, even as we continue to learn this morning. I hope we're together. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, and I'll be happy to take them. All right, so we were talking about this idea that, over half of the jobs created are being created by entrepreneurship. Now, I want to look at what is the value when we talk about job creation and poverty reduction, okay? Now, entrepreneurship addresses unemployment by generating diverse and meaningful job opportunities across various sectors. Let me give an example. If I decide to start a business producing, let me say, water, right? And I start off a factory, okay? First of all, to run that factory. Before that factory, I rent a location for the factory. To kit up the factory with equipment, first of all, you will engage, technicians that will help you to install the machinery. Okay? You will also have the engineers that will be helping you to maintain those machinery. Okay? You will have staff on the production line, the people that will put the label on the bottle when the water is coming through. Okay? So people that will run the machines. You will have staff that will be involved in packing the water. I hope we're seeing how just creating a factory can bring about, 10 jobs, 20 jobs, depending on the business you are doing. Or you are a tailor. Now you have gotten so many jobs and you don't want to be that tailor that, if you give your job to Omoye, hey, you will never see that clothes. So don't bother giving Omoye. You don't want to be that kind of tailor. You want to be a tailor where they say, if I give my fabric to Omoye, I know that if the wedding is on December 30, by 20th, Omoye would have delivered that fabric, that dress, and it will be well done. What do? You want to expand your business. You're like, okay, let me bring in more skilled tailors to be able to help me to build this business. Before you know it, we now have 5 tailors under Omoye Fashion Design. So in that sense, Omoye is creating jobs in that economy. Of course, poverty reduction, it comes with the job, because with every job that you create, you are financially compensating people. And in that way, their poverty is reduced. Okay, so economic empowerment. So again, when we go from region to region, there might be different peculiarities. However, entrepreneurship, okay, sorry, the chat was moving, so I thought there was a message there. Entrepreneurship empowers people to create value for themselves. I hope we're together. I hope my examples are bringing it home. I'm trying to make it as basic as possible and not speak too many technical words that then confuse you, okay? Now, of course, within a community, right, if you decide to open a factory in an area where there has been no factory before, it opens up that area. Even if it's a farm, you decide to open in the community. By the time people are coming in to work on that farm, your goods are coming out of that farm, it opens up that area. That's the reality. And it changes the dynamics of the community for good. You are employing people, that's one, but you're also increasing the livelihood of others. Because if I collect money from Omoye as a tailor, I will go and spend that money to buy from Iyaruka. Maybe I'm only buying sachet of Milo and milk from her, but money is moving around within that economy. Jobs are being created. Poverty is being reduced for both the tailor and the Iyaruka that she's buying, milk, Milo, and whatever it is that they're using to just, as breakfast to charge their system before they get to work. Okay, filling the gaps. Employment gaps are there. As we said before, I think it was Pretty Beauty that said, the government cannot employ everybody. And that's the reality, okay? And again, they can't do it all in terms of solving problems. The government cannot solve all the problems that there are in this world. In fact, there are some problems that are not even important to them, okay? So as individuals running businesses, we are the ones that solve such problems, okay? And then you create new roles so that you can meet the needs of the local community. And I talked before about, that hairdressing salon where you understand that there's a gap here and you decide to fill that gap. Okay, can we please have the next slide? Okay, so innovation and market transformation. I want to ask in the comments section, please share with me when you hear the word innovation, okay, what comes to mind? You can leave us a chat, you can raise up your hand. When you hear the word innovation, what comes to mind?
Innovation, what comes to my mind is new solution, creating a solution to a problem.
Thank you very much, Daniel Kenneth. Creating new solutions to problems, okay? Taiwo Gumban says creating new things. Thank you both. I want us to think about innovation as a different way of doing something, okay? Of doing anything at all, to be honest, right? And sometimes we think it's a big change. Sometimes it can just be a small change. It can be a marginal change. However, it makes that service, it makes that product better. let me give an example. For something like I don't know, okay, yes, I think this is better. When you have a bottle of water like this, right, it may be just the way this cap closes that you change. And it's just so much easier for the elderly whose hands are weak to open this bottle, and they now prefer this water brand to another brand. That is innovation. It may be just a little part that you change. Let me give an example. Whenever we go into the banking hall, many people, they have to queue, right? But now maybe instead of doing that, the bank decides that, okay, we will be publishing. Let me give just an example. It's a random example, but I hope it brings it home for you. We'll be publishing appointment times such that you can know, okay, 10 to 11:30, we can only attend to 50 people. And 50 people have booked that time. Don't bother coming by that time, because if you come by 10 to 11:30, you will spend 2 hours, because the next time available is 12:30 to 1:30. Let me repeat myself. 10 to 11:30 as a time slot, we can only attend to 50 people. We have published it as a bank. Now, if you don't have a time slot within that time, we will not attend to you within that time, okay? However, 12 to 1:30 is now available for booking. Now, as somebody who doesn't want to go and sleep in the bank, you will know that, okay, 12 to 1:30 is available. I will book that time slot. That is something that is a small innovation, however, could really change the customer experience for the person coming into that organization, okay? Or even salon, for example. Sometimes you get there, everywhere is just full. I wish I knew that if I come by this time, there will be a crowd, so that I will not bother coming this time. I will come the next day, or I will come later in the evening when I know that most people will have done their hair and I'll be able to be attended to early enough. So sometimes innovation can be a small change. However, it brings about a great difference in the experience of your customers. Okay. So now, what are some of the ways that people can innovate? We talked about, I think was and also something that Daniel mentioned. Okay, said new solutions. Okay, so novel products and services that disrupt business model. Let's bring it to the popular example that people like to give. This idea of Uber versus yellow and black taxi in Lagos, right? With Uber or Bolt or InDrive, or InDrive, in fact, is bringing another model. But let me just start with Uber and Bolt, the more popular ones, right? We no longer have to wait for yellow and black. Before, in the past, if you are living in an estate, go to the bus stop or go and look for a taxi. You will go to the bus stop, you will stand there. How far now? I've not seen anybody, or they have not passed. So, you can spend about 15 minutes sometimes waiting for taxi at the bus stop because they have not yet passed. When they come, depending on how the person is feeling, you can the same trip that somebody will say 2,000, another person can tell you 3,000, another person will say 3,500. It depends on how well you can negotiate. Maybe if you won't speak the person's language, because you are speaking Igbo or Yoruba, you mommy, and then because of that negotiation, you are able to have a cheaper price. Then comes in Uber, where you book ride now, within the next 5 minutes, they are coming to come and meet you. You don't need to go to the bus stop to look for any yellow and black taxi. That is a complete, disruption, a complete change. It's a complete change of how that is done. Now, other people, let me give an example of InDrive and I think Rider. They now brought a different style where you are the one that will tell the driver, I want to pay 2,000. If he agrees, he will tell you. If he doesn't want, he will also say, no, I can only collect 3,000. Again, different from Uber, where on Uber, the money they tell you to pay is the money you pay. Now these people are bringing this idea of negotiation. So they are combining, I feel, the yellow and black, bringing it back again, somewhat that idea of I can still negotiate with the driver, and then combining it with an almost instant taxi booking service. Okay, so people bring in new products like this, right? Before, in the past, we only had bottles of, let me give an example. What's a good example to give? I don't want to give let me see. There are many products. Okay, let me give an example. Morning Fresh that we used to wash our plates. In the past, you could only get bottle. But nowadays, they're also bringing sachet sizes of that. Or milk. Milk and Milo. Before, it was only tin. If you don't buy tin, you can't get milk. You can't get Bonvita. But now, we now have sachets. So sometimes people are bringing small changes to how something is presented. The content of the Milo and the milk has not changed particularly, but how it is being done is being changed. And that's when we think about innovation, for those of us that are in business or those that want to start, you may just bring a small change, but it brings a difference to the customer. For somebody that doesn't have a lot of money, you can quickly say, let me just buy 2 sachets for today rather than buying 1 big tin of milk. Or, I don't like the way my children drink this Milo and milk. Oh, hey, if I just buy 1 tin within 1 week, they have cleared everything. Let me buy sachets so that if I wake up and I say, okay, Itunu, this is your sachet. Thompson, this is your sachet. Ekene, this is your sachet. I know that I'm monitoring how they are drinking this my Milo and milk. So you see that for different users, that little innovation of sachets has changed how they enjoy or use that product that is called milk and Milo. Okay, so when thinking about innovation within our businesses as well, these are some of the ways to just think about how to innovate and bring about a solution that your customers will appreciate. Okay, market disruptions. Startups challenge established monopoly, fostering competition and dynamism. Let me give an example with the banking sector. We all know when they brought in this OPay and PalmPay, any rider now that is delivering anything to you, which account, most of them are telling you OPay and PalmPay. Why? Alert, whether you are receiving the money, fast, they know whether the money has come in or not. That's something that for many of them, they complain that with the traditional banks, I won't mention names, that they normally are not able to confirm a transaction as quickly as possible. Okay, so that's a very practical example of disrupting. Before now, we never thought that you will not go to banking. Okay, you must go to banking hall. However, within the last few years now, most people are banking on their phones, except something so out of this world, that takes you physically into the bank. Remember before too, when it's every time you must carry cash, but then the cash crunch came when there was no money in the economy and everybody had to, even your tomato seller, now those who say, account, no, they don't know the meaning of account number. Everybody said, I get account, so now my number be this, I better send them, because they now needed to be able to collect their money from a customer. Okay, so, there's a disruption that OPay and PalmPay are giving to the established traditional banks that we've always known since when we were young. Those banks that, the pillars, the 18, 19, but now these people are coming and they are making the banks to shake that. How do we bring fintech into this whole banking system to ensure that our customers don't run away? Okay, so those are some of the ways. Then economic diversification. Okay, so creating new sectors and opportunities. As I said before, as businesses create, their own their own value, they're also enhancing the experience that the society is having as well. Let's look at this idea of Airbnb, right? Or the one that we call Nigeria, shortlet. There were many people that they had, maybe they live somewhere else. Let's say they live in Ikeja, but they have a property in Lekki, and they are not able to find a tenant that will collect the apartment from January to December for 2 years and pay down and pay and all of that. And it's okay, you know what? This idea of shortlet, some people are coming in, they coming into Lagos, they want somewhere to stay for 3 nights. Shortlets, I don't know, I hope we know the example, but shortlets have become something that is now very popular in Nigeria. Okay, so it is bringing new sectors, something that we never thought about. Okay, so everybody in the past, yes, awesome, thank you very much, Taiwo. In the past, everybody thought if you don't rent from January to December, you'll be able to, if you have a property and you don't have a tenant, the property will just be sitting down and looking at you. However, now we have the idea of shortlet, that helps you to monetize your property even when you don't have a fixed tenant from the beginning to the end of the year. Okay, now we're now talking, let me just also mention this idea of social entrepreneurship. Now, this is entrepreneurship for the good of society, right? And they innovate with the dual mission. They want to solve social needs and environmental problems. Okay, so let me bring that home. There are people that come and they say, we don't want, they recently banned, what's this thing called? This styrofoam. This takeaway now, the paper let me call it paper takeaway, the one you can tear, that they normally use when you just buy in any of those popular restaurants, or even when you go to Mama Put, the one that is cheaper than the one we call the takeaway that has cover. Okay, I hope you are getting the example I'm making. But the foam takeaway, let me call it that way. fuke. Okay, I apologize if you don't speak Yoruba, but that's one that takeaway that is paper, that is there like foam. Okay, that is something that has been said to have a negative effect on the environment, right? And so there are people who sometimes what they do as a business. Let me give another example. There are people who their business is all about taking plastics like bottles. Okay, hey, sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to show brands on the call, but taking plastics like bottles and then transforming them into useful products. Or you see people that take a tire and they make it into a tool that you can use within your home. Okay, so social enterprises often solve societal problems and environmental problems. Sometimes people are looking at the issue of climate change. People are looking at the issue of girl child education, where their goal is to make a change in society. Financial profit is not the very first priority for them, but their goal is essentially to make a change in society so that people can live better lives. Okay, so that's an example of social entrepreneurship. Sometimes it's not always about money. Sometimes you want to make a difference. You will, and in fact, money is there's a Yoruba saying that money is the driver of good things. Okay, so you will there's a need for finances, but that is not necessarily the first goal. Societal change is usually the first goal, the first priority for social enterprises. Okay, so can we look at the next slide, please? Damilola, next slide, please. If we have any questions, please let me know in the comment section and I'll be happy to take them as we go along. Okay.
Damilola, next slide, please.
All right, so thank you. Okay, so we're just building on the idea of social entrepreneurship. And as I said, it's bridging economy and society. Okay, so social entrepreneurs integrate positive social impacts with financial sustainability, creating ventures that benefit communities. Okay, so what are some of the things that social entrepreneurship covers? It covers community empowerment. There's some groups within society, especially women and children, that generally are classified as being vulnerable, right? So essentially, social ventures sometimes are set to address the needs of these people. They want to empower these marginalized groups and foster economic growth. Let me give an example. Somebody decides that I want to train tailors within a community, right? So that I can ensure that these women, rather than sit at home waiting for money from their husbands, they can also make themselves useful in society. I don't want to give them mathematics and English that may be a bit difficult for them to grasp. Let me give them a we call it in Nigeria, handiwork. Okay, so you see people that say that what they do is they train communities on hairdressing or they train them on tailoring. You hear this idea of soap making. It's become quite popular in the last maybe 5 to 10 years, where they go to a community, skills, exactly, skills, that help people to be able to monetize their what they know to do, right? So you can teach them, for example, soap making. You hear this thing, this liquid soap that people use to wash their plates. I know how to make it, or they know how to make Izal or air freshener, okay? Because they have been empowered by these social ventures, okay? Now, these social ventures are also set up to address global issues. They tackle poverty, inequality, as I said, sometimes gender inequality, and also environmental challenges. I talked about the example of the fuke being removed so that better and sustainable products can replace it, okay? And then they do that through innovative solutions, okay? Now, there are some businesses where normally, this idea of ajo, where there is somebody that comes. When we're younger, I remember this, my aunt used to run a shop. Somebody will come every month. He has a record with him. He will collect her money. He will record how much she's giving on that day. Now there are people who, Esusu, thank you very much. I don't know what it's called in your community, but they go around, they have their record. He comes with his bag. He collects your 5,000. He records it for you. When it comes to time, exactly, contribution. When it comes to time, you are the one that is collecting the contribution for that period. Okay, now what does this kind of innovation help people to do? It helps them to have capital to start off a business or to even push their business forward. Okay, so there are people who now they are bringing technology into this idea of a susu. Okay, this olden days idea of contribution, they are now using technology to monitor everything. Okay, so that can be a form of social and entrepreneurship, where your goal essentially is to make the lives of the people in that society better. Okay, access to education, healthcare. There are people. This idea of period cups is now reigning now, where people are what's it called? Sanitary pads are too expensive for some communities to afford. So you find that during their periods, ladies, engage in unhygienic practices just to be able to maintain themselves, right? Whereas somebody has brought this idea of period cups where it is cheaper, but it lasts very, very long and it is able to serve purpose. Okay, that is an example of social entrepreneurship. Okay, in the area of healthcare, clean energy. Okay, so we're looking at this idea of there was this time when there was this cooker where instead of using what's it called? Instead of using charcoal, you had this cooker where they just put some biofuel and it will be burning. Looking at clean energy, saying, okay, firewood is spoiling our atmosphere. What can we use again to cook that will be safe for people to use? And all the while, they're also generating revenue. Okay, so I was saying that while revenue may not be their number one goal, their number one goal is social change. However, they also make money from the social venture. Okay, so for somebody who is thinking, my passion is to make girls to be confident. Okay, now you decide to run a social venture where it is all about the girl child public speaking empowerment. So maybe let's call it PSC, public speaking empowerment for girls. Okay, PSEG is the name of your social venture, right? For such an establishment, while the number one goal is not making money, one of the ways you can make money is that maybe you are charging marginally for that, but you are relying on corporate ventures that have a passion for social responsibility and they are using you as the avenue. So let me give an example. Every single, well, let me not say every single, but most of the multinationals and large corporations, they have a CSR budget, corporate social responsibility budget, and they may be funneling that through you, through the PSEG, public speaking empowerment for girls. That could be a way that they use their own money to train girls to be better. When they are bringing their report at the end of the year, they say, we're able to train girls in the Cocoa community. 100 girls were trained. But you, as the social venture, were the avenue, the vehicle through which they were able to train those kids. So whenever we think about societal change, we think, this one is for government because now we're not seeing any money to make on it. Let's look at how we can balance societal change on the one hand, as well as entrepreneurship. And that's what social entrepreneurship is all about. Please let me know if you have any comments, as I said, or any questions, and we'll be happy to take them. Please let's move on to the next slide, Damilola. Okay, so entrepreneurship's role in community development. Number one, it attracts investment. Entrepreneurs bring capital and new businesses, and they boost local economies. Okay, so let me give an example. I recently had the opportunity to listen to Dr. Cosmas Maduka of Costaris Motors, and he started a farm. When I even say farm, I don't know if the word is farm, because the amount of hectares and acres of land. And where did he take this project? It's not in Lagos. It's not in Abuja. He took it to his home state, which I believe is Anambra. Now, imagine the amount of impact so let me give an example. They are creating, first of all, they are planting rice, right? They are creating a factory to dry the husk, remove the what's it called? Let me just use the word skin from the rice, and then package the rice for sale. Okay. Imagine that community and the amount of change it brings. Whenever they are building a new house in any area, shafts, thank you very much. Remove the shaft from the rice and then package it for sale, right? Now, let's bring it to a different example. Let's assume they are building a new house. There has been an abandoned land for some time. When they are building a new house, they are bringing, what are they calling these guys? The bricklayers, those guys that carry the sand and coal. The mama that will come and sell rice for them is making money, because in the morning she will come, the girl is selling bread, bringing a wagon. They are coming together to come and make money from that place. So it empowers, it boosts the local economy. Imagine in that Anambra place where there has been a, in quote, village, a land where nothing has been happening since. But now somebody is bringing hectares and acres where, in fact, it's like multiple football fields can fill that, what's it called? That property, that land that the man is using. That's the size of what he's building. So imagine that community where that land has been silent, nothing has been happening, and now there is a business there. Everybody will start springing up. As a mama puts, how can I make money from that place? That's what you are thinking. You know, as a shoemaker, you're also thinking, for the people working on that factory, how do I make money from there? Very, very simple. If we look at this, even within Lagos, this idea of the Lekki area, the into Lekki, Ibeju, all those areas, when there was no development, everywhere was quiet. But as properties began springing up, businesses also were coming up because they need to feel the need for the communities there. And of course, investment is coming in because for them to develop a property, money is coming into that area. Okay, neighborhood revitalization. I believe I've also covered this. You breathe life into the commercial, life or existence of that community, because now, money is exchanging hands because people are moving and business is being done. It fosters local pride. Imagine when the governor of that state is talking about the projects that the man is building there. In fact, I believe he has flown in several governors to come and see what they are doing there. There's going to be pride. Lagos State, the agri-zone, when it's being discussed, you feel that pride that, I'm a member of that community where the Dangote, what's it called? The Dangote factory, Dangote Sugar, their factory is in my community. Sometimes, of course, maybe the community members are disturbed by the economic operations of the business. I won't say that that's not the case, but most times you are so proud to say, we have brought in so and so into my community. So you create that sense of community and pride. Of course, infrastructure. If somebody is creating a farm within the bush, the road that will bring out the goods from that farm will also be created. Electricity for that area is likely to come up because it needs power in the factory. Okay, so those things revitalize the community. They bring infrastructure into the community. Okay, these are some US examples. I believe they don't apply, but I've been able to give you some examples for Nigeria. Okay, of course, local public services, as I said, infrastructure will always support many areas. The reason why they have water today is because a business came up within that area. They needed some form of irrigation, and they decided to put borehole here so that we can be able to have water to function in this area. Okay, or we have been able to make so much money from this area. Why not allow us to give back by making borehole, by donating school items? We are donating chairs to the school. We are building the school, what's it called? The school library. Those are some of the ways that creating businesses can further impact the community. Okay, our next slide, please. Damilola, okay, thank you. Okay, yes, thank you. Now, economic independence and resilience. Entrepreneurship fosters robust economies by reducing resilience on single industries and promoting diversification. Okay, the more the merrier, especially for the customer. Now, there was a time when you only had a few petrol stations and they were in certain areas. If you have not traveled all the way to so and so, you will not see petrol station. Nowadays, because it has been opened up, more smaller firms have come up, and they are now, again, as I said, there might be some negative sides to entrepreneurship. I don't deny that. But more, what I'm giving an example now is the fact that with the advent of more smaller, let me say, filling stations, there is now more convenience for the customer. There is now choice. If I don't like this one, I can choose the next. If I don't like so and so's water, like that water brand is taste. But there was a time where, because you only want to drink bottled water, even if it's tasting, you can only buy so and so brand. But today, before you open your eye and close it, you have seen 20 different brands, and that ability to choose whichever one suits your purpose has been granted to you as a user. Okay, so it diversifies for you your options. Okay, now let's talk about some of the points that we have on this page. Right, diversified economies. It minimizes the risks associated with over-reliance on large corporations or specific sectors. There was a time when if you don't have this company bringing in and so item, you won't be able to get it. The bakery in your area, there is only one big bakery. By 4 o'clock, their bread has finished. And that means that we cannot eat bread if we don't go before 4. But today, 10 different small bakeries have opened where this one even has coconut, they have sardine, they have milk. Your choices have expanded and you don't need to rely only on that bakery to be able to enjoy bread. There was a time when in cake business, unless you book weeks ahead for the birthday that you forgot, you will not be able to enjoy cake. Now you walk into a store, give me that one from the shelf, 10 inches, 12 inches, 14 inches. There are live cakes available for immediate pickup. Okay, so diversification ensures that we no longer rely solely on one single person and we are waiting only for that business alone. Okay, we can now have options. Of course, I talked about attracting new investment, stimulating economic activity and growth. Again, new market access. Okay, now, for example, as a business owner, right, before you opened your Ibafo branch, you were only in Ikeja and Surulere. But now you notice that a number of middle income earners in Nigeria are trying to build their own home because Lagos is too expensive. They are moving to an area like Mowe, Ibafo, Magboro. And you decide, okay, I will take my business there. And it opened up a new market entirely to you that did not exist until that area opened up. Okay, so we as you know, as areas open up as well, it can grant you new access, new market access. Okay, so entrepreneurship, economies driven by entrepreneurial activity, they tend to be more adaptable, innovative, and sustainable in the face of change. All right, I hope we are together so far. Let's move on to our next slide, please. Next slide, please. Let me see if I can open the slides here as well. That might help our case.
Next slide, please.
Okay, so why entrepreneurship matters, and it's a call to action for us. All right, so entrepreneurship is a catalyst for change. Entrepreneurship is a driving force for innovation, job creation, and social progress. I believe we've mentioned this one way or the other in the past few minutes, right? Investing in the future. Supporting entrepreneurs is an investment in economic stability, community well-being, and inclusive growth. Let me bring it home. Every time a small business closes, right, the 5 staff that were working with them, they are rendered jobless. The business they were creating, the value they were creating with that community is removed. And that's why it's important to invest in businesses because, again, and this is beyond, I believe this is beyond the people in this room. It's almost like we're preaching to the choir. But now talking about the government and creating an enabling environment for entrepreneurs. Okay, so supporting entrepreneurs is an investment in economic stability for themselves, but also for the communities where they operate and the people that work with them. Okay, then it also shapes prosperity, whether as founders, supporters, policymakers. When we embrace entrepreneurship, it shapes a prosperous future for all. Because within every business, as you generate money, your community is also benefiting from that money that you generate. Okay, so there's prosperity, there's an exchange. Look at these people that are shaking their hands. There's an exchange of value. It's prosperity for all when businesses thrive. And that's why entrepreneurship matters. Can we move on to our next slide, please? Damilola, next slide, please.
Next slide, please.
Okay, so I want us to pause here and I just want to engage with you once again. We want to look at how entrepreneurs generate business ideas and identify market opportunities. So please share with me So far, currently, how do you generate business ideas? Please don't make it academic, don't make it too far away. How do you generate business ideas? How do you think, or how do you think business ideas are generated? But I'd like you to personalize it as much as possible, sharing with us in the chat, or unmuting yourself to give us an answer. How do you, as an entrepreneur, generate business ideas, or as a potential entrepreneur, the ideas that have come to your mind, how have you generated them? And how do you identify market opportunities? Please share with us, whether it's by chat, whether it's by your voice speaking in the class. I would really love to hear from us about this. How do you generate business ideas? Okay. And please make it as relatable as possible. Let's not make it academic. Let's not make it the process of generating ideas is this. Just share with us. Yes, please. Madam Taiwo.
All right. Good day, everyone. Yeah. I do generate business ideas by once I notice there's a gap within my vicinity or within, in an area, or I notice that as someone is saying, oh, I wish I could get this thing here. Immediately I tap into it and I start making it available. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Okay. Through collective, Bolarinwa Teniola says, through collective opinion of people. Okay. Thank you. Any other comments on that? I'm liking it so far. I think I love what Madam Taiwo said. Very, very practical. Okay. There's a problem and you think of a way of solving it. Thank you, Pretty Beauty. Problem and a way of solving it. Okay. I'm not here. There's one example I've not heard of. Have you seen somebody doing something before and it inspired you? I know we are all innovators. We are all great thinkers, but sometimes you see an idea, maybe in a different sector, and you feel, this thing should be able to work in fashion industry where I run a tailoring business. Okay, so thank you very much. Taiwo is saying yes. Madam Taiwo say yes. Okay, so any other response before we move on? Because I want us to think about it, really think about it, because this is for some who have not started or who are looking to start something new. This is a big area that helps you to build on what you'll be starting, or whatever it is that you'll be pursuing, being able to generate ideas. Okay, it's the first step in any venture. Your idea of, okay, this is what I want to do, right? Or this is the change I want to see. This is the difference I want to see in society, solving problems. Okay, thank you very much, Daniel. Kenneth, solving problems in the society. What kind of problems? Let me ask you a follow-up questions. Can you give us maybe one or two type of problems in society that we can solve? Okay, that would be great. Like insecurity. I've seen some skits online of some interesting solutions to this problem, where some people were carrying weapons to organizations. I was just, I know they were just joking, but again, there are issues and there needs to be a way to solve. So for something like insecurity, for example, maybe one way that somebody can, thank you very much, power supply. One way that somebody can look at that is creating an alert, what's it called? Service, where whenever there is crisis in an area, you are able to reach the security operatives to help you to intervene, right? So let me just move along with the slides. Thank you so much to everybody who has responded. Every venture starts by spotting a need or problem and imagining a solution. Okay? Consider the simple example of a student selling bubble gum at school to fill an unmet demand. This illustrates how even the smallest observation can spark an idea. Madam Taiwo said something that if people are saying they don't have this thing, I will say, I have it too, and you start providing it. So these particular students now, maybe the students were sleeping in class and they're like, no sweets, no chewing gum, no malam in this area to even sell anything. And the students say, mommy, give me 10,000 and please take me to the market. Decides to buy chewing gum and be in an environment where it's allowed anyway, because I know that for schools in Nigeria, this might not really fly because when your teacher sees you chewing gum, some will even put it on your hair. And those teachers we had those days, they will teach you a very powerful lesson that by the time you I don't know the English of paje. When you lose your hair in one area, you will know that I'm not supposed to be chewing gum in school. So this may not fly in a Nigerian setting, but let's just go ahead with this example, right? This student noticed that, okay, I had one recently, right? A student decided to start selling. The person has a comic book. He drew, is an artist, right? Secondary school or primary school, I believe it's primary school. And because his colleagues were interested in, reading the comic, he decided to start giving them rent. You come and view. When you want to view, you pay 50 naira or 100. I can't remember what the amount was. And so he launched a business because other students were looking for entertainment. I want to be able to see what you are drawing. And he created, from that gap, he decided to launch a business, helping them to look at comic books that he himself drew anyway. Okay, so again, what we're just saying is that you spot a need, and I believe some of us mentioned it again. Somebody said power supply. There was a need, there's still in fact, the need has not disappeared, even so-called band A. But now we are seeing solar, right? Now we saw generator before we saw solar. After darkness, we saw candle, we saw lantern, before we moved to before we move to solar. Okay, so at every stage in time, there is still that need, and people are looking for ways to meet that need with the ideas that they are generating, the solutions that they are generating. Ideas can originate from diverse sources. Personal experiences that reveal gaps in the market. For me, one of the reasons why I started a business about food stuff is I'm the last born. I was one that used to go to the market, and it was so tiring. I said, what if somebody can even bring the food to come and meet me in my house? This food stuff, this meat, this pepper, this vegetable. I don't want to go to the market. We will go to market. We will go up and down. From meat, you will go to tomato. From tomato, you go to ewedu. Ewedu, you go to okra. Okra, you go to yam. Let me just order this on my phone. Let them bring it to my door. That was how my own business started. Okay. Again, personal experiences that reveal gaps, meticulous market research, and we'll talk about this a bit later. Uncovering overlooked niches, things that people have not really looked at. This area, some people, the work that they do is very specific. I only process visa for France, and they are making it in that particular area. I only do puff puff, and they are the greatest puff puff makers. I only do hype. This what's the name of this guy? Shegun Johnson, where the work he does is to hype people on their special occasion. And I was hearing minimum of 1 million. To be honest, people have been singing people's praises. There's this thing I believe it's in every culture, but Yoruba culture where they sing they sing your name, and that's the person dancing, and you begin to spray. People have been doing this thing. But again, he identified a niche where he now entered the whole sector, and now today he's making money. So uncovering overlooked niches, areas where people have not really been doing much, and then you decide to venture in, and that's where you are making your money. Or synthesizing trends from seemingly disparate industries. You're looking at different industries, and this thing is happening here. How do I bring it all together and create a business that solves that problem? It's about seeing what others miss and envisioning how to address it. Okay, next slide, please. We may need to move a bit faster because I believe that we have quite a bit of ground to cover. So maybe I'll try to talk a bit faster or not share too many examples. Understanding the market opportunity and the profit potential. Now, for almost everybody that goes into business, in fact, let's say all, you want to get a reward for your labor. You don't resume in the morning in your business, close, then at the end of the month, there's nothing to even show for all the efforts, right? You want to be able to make profit. And what are some of the things that come into play what is the potential of that market? So you identify the need, and they're not making hair in this area, or there's no chemist in this area. And I believe that we should open, let me not say chemist, a pharmacy in this area. And I believe that we should open a pharmacy, right? What are some of the things that you should look at before finally taking that decision? Beyond the idea now, you need to look at the market size. And when we say market size, essentially what we're saying is the total potential sales volume of that product or service within a defined market. Let me break that down. If you say that you are there are some services that cannot move beyond your area. For example, a hairstylist, you cannot do it online. right? If it was, what's it called? Consulting. Let me give an example. Like what's it called? These therapists, right? You might be able to do it online, but there are some services that they are fixed. Somebody that is washing car, you need to touch the car before you can wash the car, right? So sometimes those kind of businesses limit you to a certain geographical area, right? Now, in that case, let me just talk about a car wash. A car wash that is serving Ikeja axis, for example, what can be that person's market size? Again, that particular business for that particular branch, you cannot serve Abuja customers from Ikeja and say you are going to be washing their car. It is not possible for such a business. So when we're looking at the market size, we're saying, what is the potential sales volume? What is if all the people in Ikeja patronize me, how much can I actually make, right? Now, how do we make it more practical? We are saying, what is the population of Ikeja? Let us assume 2 million people are living in Ikeja, okay? Out of that 2 million, how many actually have cars? Many times, you might only be able to estimate, because for Nigeria, most times you may not be able to find accurate information about your market. However, you can make some estimations. Assuming that the population of Ikeja is 2 million people living in Ikeja, right? Out of those 2 million, that's both male, female, and children. You will say, okay, let's assume that each family has 4 people. I hope we're together. So we are dividing 2 million by 4 to even say, okay, how many families are even in this Ikeja? Okay, 2 million divided by 4 gives us 500,000. There are 500,000 families in Ikeja. Again, I hope we are following. I'm just making some assumptions and I'm going ahead with that. 500,000 families. It's not every family that has car. Oh. Let's assume 1 out of 10 families has a car. Okay? 1 out of 10 is giving us 10%. 10% of 500,000 is 50,000. For such a business, 50,000 is the total addressable market. That's if all the families come to you to wash their car, 50,000 families are available to wash their cars with you. Are we following? Please let me know in the chat or by voice so that I can be sure we got that example, or if we need one more of that example. Because, okay, fantastic. Thank you. I want to be sure because this is a very, very important area for all of us. Whether you are doing services, whether you are doing products, you need to be able to identify the total market size. And then now that will now lead you to know, okay, out of this whole 50,000 that they say cars are available, how many can I even target that will make sense for me, for my business? Okay, so I've done that example for cars. Let me know, maybe somebody can share a sector that we can consider using so that would also help us to give another practical example. Let me know a sector that you think we can use to identify their market size. Education, okay? This is a very, very broad statement, but they are different because you can be running a school, you can be selling books in the area of education. So help me to break it down a bit so that I can know which particular aspect so that we can bring it home. Teaching, okay? So are you a teacher or are you running a maybe after school services where you come for extra lesson? Which of the above? Okay. Just waiting on that. Online teaching, fantastic. Now, this is a very good example because it is a service and it is online. Okay. Now, there's something that, let me just make it very, very practical. First of all, as much as you're doing something online, you cannot serve everybody on the internet. Let me make it very practical. Because she's a Nigerian online teacher or running an online service as far as education is concerned, she can only serve the Nigerian populace for now, depending on the curriculum that she can offer. Okay, that is one thing that first of all limits the market size. The idea is we know that there are billions of people in the world, but out of all these billions of people, what is the size I can actually, if all of them came to me, what is the size that is available? And it is a very important question because sometimes your market size is too small and the cost per product or service is too small that it doesn't make sense to venture into that thing. It is a very, very niche, as in it is so niche that nobody, maybe only 20 people are using it in Lagos, and the 20 people, they're only paying 1,000 every time they use it. 20 times 1,000 to 20,000. You cannot expend resources to be able to serve only 20 people. So let's get back to this example. Online teaching. Assuming they only give Nigerian curriculum, that first of all limits the online teaching to Nigeria alone. Now, the question that will now be asked is, which ages do they serve? Because that will also determine the population of people available to be taught. Which ages do you serve? You understand? That will determine, because how much, if for example, there are 20 million ages 6 to 9 in Nigeria, right? And that is the class that she serves, then we might be able to bring down market size. But we cannot say every student in Nigeria are the people that she's going to teach, because there must be a curriculum that they have available within this teaching establishment. But let me, for the sake of this discussion, just assume, because I don't have much information, the level of information you have will determine how much you can accurately determine your market size. Okay, but let's just assume that she's doing, or let's assume it's primary school students, starting from primary 1 down to primary 6. Then you now look at, okay, within Nigeria, right, how many students fall into that category? If we say that for every household, we have maybe 2 students in primary 1 to 6, right? 2 students, and there are 100,000 households in that. That figure is wrong, but you may need to go to National Bureau of Statistics for Nigeria to get that figure of how many students are actually even in primary school at this point in time. Okay, now you will also have to bring it further down, because online teaching means that you need to have students that can attend online classes. Within the Nigerian economy, there are some states that they don't have that level of infrastructure right now, to the extent that their students can properly attend online teaching. Again, I don't know, is this normal school? Is this holiday class? Is this after school? There's so many things to look at within this particular example. But whatever the case may be, how you further narrow it down is, who are those that can even afford this service? Okay, and you bring it down, you might identify, okay, maybe they are out of the 36 states, there are 20 states that I feel, okay, when it comes to online teaching, they will be receptive. Okay, now you are saying, as much as within Nigeria, we have maybe 50 million students in primary school, but within those 20 states I've identified, I can only see up to 20 million students. Okay, now out of those 20 million students, bring it down again, only maybe 10 million are willing to do online classes or even have the laptop or the phone, because I don't know which avenue you use to reach out to your students. So I hope you get what I'm saying. There's a systematic, you come from the general, you keep bringing it down to even see, okay, assuming all the market was available to me, assuming I was the one servicing everybody, how many students can I even service? Okay, how many students are available for me to service? And this question is very, very, very important. Let's move on to the next example. Okay, so let me just tie that up. Okay, so once you now look at the primary school students, you now look at your 20 states. Okay, you may then decide, okay, 20 states, we have 20 million students. Now I want to focus only on Lagos, because my adverts that I can only do when I do online adverts, or when I go for door-to-door, school to school, I can only serve Lagos. Maybe within Lagos, I can only serve Ikeja and Surulere, or Ikeja and Shomolu local government. Again, you can see that you are reducing it to even see how many people are available to your use, to use your service. Okay, so this is important. Whether you're doing a service or a product, you must be able to identify your market size. Competition, very, very simple. Who else is doing what you are doing, or doing an alternative? Now, let me give an example. I said the business I was doing is a what's it called, online website for foodstuff. You might say, you don't really have many of those in Nigeria, but people have arrangements. They have Yaruka that they call, who is an Alabo are those people that carry load in Mile 12. And Yaruka will help them to go to the meat seller, go to the tomato, go to the yam, gather everything, put it in a taxi, and deliver it to the banker who is in our office. Yaruka is an alternative to my service. I can't tell you that I don't have competition. This online teaching now, there is offline teaching of so many types. There is weekend class, there is after school class. That's you finish school by 3 o'clock. Your school, you will do lesson. You will get home, you still have lesson teacher. So those are some of the people that can compete with online teaching, even if you say that there is no business doing teaching online per se, which is not even accurate, but let's just assume. Sometimes you may not see direct competition, but there are alternatives to what you do. For example, an online business like Jumia that is selling different things may say, okay, only Konga is my competition. However, there is offline seller that can also deliver to you. I'm selling and you saw my flyer, and I say, don't worry, where are you in Ikorodu? Until I deliver, you will not pay. You can see that even though that person is not online, they saw the flyer, hard copy, but they can still deliver the same service that Jumia is delivering. So please, when you're thinking of your competition, look beyond the person that is doing exactly what you are doing to who else can do what, fulfill that need for the customer, okay? Again, we talked about unmet needs, identifying specific problems that the customers have and the current solutions that fail to adequately address those needs. For example, there's an airline that wants to launch, and the biggest problem for domestic flights is timing. Once, most times, if you don't jump on the first flight, every other flight typically experiences delays. And you are coming in and saying, okay, people want to be on time. I have a business meeting in Abuja by 2 p.m. I want to get on a flight by 10 a.m. and know that 2 p.m. I've gotten my 10 a.m. flight is 1 hour. By 11, I am at Nnamdi Azikiwe in Abuja. I don't want a case where I said 10 o'clock flight. Till 3 o'clock, they are still moving it and moving it. I get to Abuja by 7. My meeting has been cancelled. In fact, today, because of this timing thing, most people go to wherever they are going the prior day because they cannot rely on our domestic flights. Many people, that's the problem that they have. Now you're coming as an airline. There's an unmet need there that you're trying to resolve. Okay, I gave example of tailoring before. There is a very, very bad reputation that many tailors have, not all, that are disappointment. If you are giving tailor your clothes, just lie. Don't tell them the exact date. You must give them 1 month in advance. If not, you are going to cry. And you say, no, we want to redefine. And honestly, I have a friend who does tailoring like that within days, whatever day they give you, they don't disappoint. And because of that, she also doesn't just collect clothes, that she checks how much capacity is available within her business before collecting clothes. So that's an unmet need. People want a reliable tailor that will tell you that you will get your clothes, ma, don't worry. And you will go to bed. Not that on that day, you start calling, the number is not going. You go to the shop, they did not open. Okay, so unmet needs, right? Now, a market opportunity represents the potential profit an entrepreneur can gain by introducing a product or service into a specific market. It hinges on 3 key factors: the size of the market, the level of competition, and most crucially, the prevalence of unmet customer needs. We talked about market size. Competition is that if I decide to enter this place, can I actually thrive? And it's a very important question. If there are already 50 bakeries in your area and you are planning to come and do the same type of bread, 2 things are wrong. There is a high level of competition and the needs are already being met. If all the bakeries are already creating all the types of bread, except you are coming with something different. So maybe these people, the family, people in that area, again, let's bring it home. There are more elderly people. And because of diabetes and issues of health, they cannot eat flour, the normal flour. So therefore, I use brown rice flour, which is very, very healthy. There's this thing that is raining now, wheat. Some people say maybe it's healthier than the other. There's another thing now. What's it called? There's this one that they blend now. I've forgotten the name now, but I'm sure I'll remember. Somebody will drop it in the comment section. But the point is that look at that business. You have left the competition that is doing normal flour bread. And because you know that there's a market size of there's a large market size of elderlies, you are now creating, there's an unmet need. Oats, thank you very much. Exactly. Oats. So people are saying that, all this one we have been eating before, they are not good. Oat is now the way. So there's oat flour, oat this, oat that. Oat is raining now. So maybe your own bread is an oat bread, strictly oat, because you are targeting people who are very sensitive to their health. And there are enough in that area for it to make sense for you to enter. You're not entering an area where there are already thousands of people doing it, and you still say, I want to enter. That's where these 3 things come to play. The market size must be big enough to make sense for you to do it. The competition, you must know what you are doing differently. And if the competition is already very thick and you cannot see a way to innovate, you may want to step back on that idea. And then your met need, if their needs are already being met, there's nothing different you are doing, you may find it difficult to thrive in that business. Okay, so I hope we're together so far. Please, our next slide. Okay. This is a foreign, we don't have Dr. Akin Adioye, or maybe Dr. Chuka Nwadiogo theory, but let's talk about this theory, which was brought about by somebody who is called Clayton Christensen, and I believe I've read one of his books before. Customers don't simply buy products. They hire them to do a specific job in their lives. No matter what you are doing, there's something when a customer engages you and uses your service or your product, they want to do a specific job in their lives. This revolutionary theory proposed by Clayton Christensen suggests that customers make purchase decisions based on solving a particular problem or achieving a desired outcome. And this can range for, there's so many things, because it's not necessarily, let me give an example. Luxury goods are not a case of, I'm hungry, I want to eat. They are a case of, I've made a certain level of money in this life that I feel I should not be driving Toyota. I should be driving Lexus, and not Lexus of 1992, but the Lexus of 2025. That is catering to a particular need. And that need, that job that person wants done is, my status has increased. The job I need done is that I need the belongings around me to also match that status. So it doesn't necessarily have to be basic things or basic necessities of life. Sometimes it can be a luxury good, but there's a job that it is doing in the life of your user. Understanding this job is far more insightful than merely analyzing demographics, the age, the income, or the product features. And there's something that I need to also mention here, is that many times when we are marketing, we talk about the features and not what the thing can do for the customer. Let me give an example. Maybe you are selling a handbag, okay? And you say, our bag is black. It has a long hand, it this, it that. That is just telling the person the features. It has a zip, okay? It can close. Good, all well and good. However, the benefit of this is that it has a zip so that when you are in the market, nobody can chook their hand in your bag and remove your money. You see that is a job that I need done. Me personally, I don't buy bags that don't close like this, because Nigeria is a place where if your bag is closed, they are taking your things, not to talk of the one that is open. It's giving the person easy access to be able to take what is not their own. It has a long hand. From somebody like me, what I'm looking for as that is that when I wear it, I can put it over my neck and be able to be seeing my load in my front, so that I can keep it under my armpit when I'm in the market and nothing will happen to this bag. So you get what I'm trying to say? The job I need done in my life is I need something to carry my possessions that can be on my person consistently and visible to me, so that I will be able to monitor it at all times. That is the job that this bag is doing for me, right? So think about the job that your customer wants done beyond the features. We know how to teach. We are good teachers. That's good. But the point is that I want my child to get all A's in WAEC. That's why I'm engaging your company. So that is what you should be selling to me, rather than the fact that teachers are very good. Teachers can be good. That's good for them. But my child will become a scholar, a star. That is the benefit to me for engaging your services. So please, also just very, very important, whenever we're marketing, let's think about that. A classic example is McDonald's milkshake, an American product, right? Sales data revealed an unexpected surge in morning purchases. In the morning, they were buying this milkshake. Why? It turned out that commuters were hiring the milkshake to stay full and occupied during the long drives, and it was a job that other breakfast items could not fulfill as effectively. The reason why people were buying milkshake was in the morning, while they are going to the office, they want their stomach to be full. They don't want to be hungry. The reason why you are buying what's it called? These guys that fry puff and egg roll. It's not just because the thing is sweet. It's because you want something to be in your stomach so that when you resume, your brain is functioning. Some people, when they have not eaten in the morning, they can't function. So that's the job that product is doing for them. By understanding this underlying job, entrepreneurs can design offerings that resonate with customer needs and preferences. These people are on their way to work. They want something that will hold their stomach. If you now come and make a bar, this kind of person probably will not buy that early morning a bar because they need something that as I'm just moving, as I'm in the bus, as I'm doing my head like this, or I'm driving my car, I can just be throwing it in my mouth. They don't need something that will involve leave the two hands and start, chopping swallow. They need something fast and on the move. So this kind of person that understands what they're using their product for can design. This person that can go from, okay, milkshake is very watery, like that one. They can bring smoothie, similar concepts. Okay, they can also bring bite-sized things that you can just be throwing in with also the milkshake. You can just enjoy these little biscuits. So when they are bringing products, they will not bring something like shawarma that will be so long that the person cannot even just do like this fast while driving to work. I hope you understand that. So understand the job that your product does for your customer so that you can be able to properly meet their need. That's what we're talking about in this slide. Let's move to the next slide, please. Okay, so what are the types of business opportunities that entrepreneurs seek? Low-end market disruption. You enter an established market with a simpler, more affordable solution, and you gradually move upscale. When a business like Ope started, was a while back, they started with, I believe, they did this bike thing, if I'm not mistaken. That time, people were going to work, and they did not really trust normal Okada. So we're booking Okada, imagine, we were booking Okada on phone to come and pick you. Now they have evolved to actually doing finance. Okay, so they started small. Let's just test this market small. Let's come in. This area of Okada is an area where let's see how people can book Okada. The way we book Uber today, that time I don't know if you remember, but we were booking Okada. Apart from Ope, there was I think GoKada too, started as bike. That is, you enter the Okada to take you from Ikeja to Surulere, Okada, and you booked it on your phone as you book Uber now. Okay, they started from there, but now Ope has evolved into payments. Okay, so low-end market disruption. They went into just an area where let's just do something here, and then they built later. New market, they create an entirely new market segment by introducing innovative products that appeal to a new set of customers. Okay, jobs to be done, addressing unfulfilled needs by deeply understanding your customers' motivations. Entrepreneurs actively seek out various types of opportunities, each requiring a unique and a distinct strategic approach. The most successful ventures often pinpoint an underserved area and develop a compelling solution. There is something that was raining recently, which is the area of Japa. And of course, for many people that Japa, they Japa through the education route, which meant that they needed to be able to get into school. People that position themselves as consultants for education, they got that Japa wave, they were able to ride on it because that was an underserved area. Another area was the area of language test, IELTS, was raining then because some countries required English test for you to pass. So some people started coming out that I can train you so that you can get a good score. You see that was an unmet and underserved area, and they brought a solution that people felt was compelling that, out of the 100 students that we have trained, 99 got 8/9 in their IELTS. So therefore, if you train with us, you are sure that you get a good score. Imagine when you hear that kind of a value proposition, you will jump on it because you know you are taking that exam so that you can help you with your JAPA plans. Okay, so that's just a recent example. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, so techniques that entrepreneurs use to generate ideas, industry and market research. This one involves scrutinizing in emerging trends, customer pain points, and the gaps that your competitors offer. You can read reports, you can attend conferences, you can analyze market data. Okay, and the truth is that to find where there is a gap and where the place that deserves your effort, you will take some time to really look at what is going on currently and how can I come in to make a difference. Creative thinking methods, engage in structured brainstorming sessions, visual mind mapping, and active social listening to gain insights from conversation and feedback. I believe two people talked about when they hear people, Madam Taiwo said that, and Mr. Daniel, I think, said something about listening to the people problems of others and how they solve that. Sometimes you just sit down that this area of let me see, what's a good one? Traffic in this our area. Maybe you are living on a street and there's been a lot of traffic. How can we even solve it? Or this area of no, what's a good example? No power supply. How can we even solve it? Right? So you just sit down and think, and truly ideas come. And let me tell you, not all will be profitable. Not all you will even explore. Because at the end of the day, when you do market research, you may, and we'll talk about that later, you may discover that as much as this thing is looking like, I see idea, wow, nobody has even thought of this, you may find that it's not profitable, so it's not worth your stress. Personal strengths and passions. Let me give an example. I recently started exploring a different business idea. And what is the idea? Visa assistance. So far, I've traveled to 24 countries, right? And so I have this strength of being an experienced traveler, right? Some countries, out of those 24, I've been to some of them more than one time, right? And so now in this area of personal strengths and passion, you are a chef, right? You know how to, as in when they are doing family program, just put Aduke in charge, you will see food. Or just put Chukuka in charge, you will see correct food, as in you will be sure that everywhere will be settled. Now bringing that strength and using it to start off a business. Those are some of the ways that people generate ideas. What do I even know how to do and do well so that I can monetize this thing? Again, you still need to do more research, but you're just talking about idea generation, right? So you align your business with your expertise. Excuse me, they've taken a power supply. Your hobbies, your interests, and then this can also lead to ventures that, okay, I'm passionate about this thing. I know how to do this thing, right? And that helps you to know which idea to generate, okay? Our next slide, please. Okay, so now we move from concept. Okay, now I have this idea. I think it's a good idea. How do you evaluate? How do we know if it's good enough? How do we move from concept to actually an opportunity? Once an idea is generated, it must be rigorously evaluated and refined to determine what its true potential. You want to know, yes, I have this idea, I have this desire to do this and do that, but at the end of the day, is it worth my time? Now, look at this. We said you do a market research. You conduct surveys, in-depth interviews, and focus groups to validate the actual demand for the proposed solution. Oh, I want to start doing visa assistance. And then you do market research and people are like, we prefer to apply by ourselves. We don't need your help. That already tells you that if you decide to go ahead with that business, there is not going to be much patronage. Okay? And to be honest, sometimes your research can be biased. So try as much as possible to expand your level of the coverage of your research. But it is definitely important for somebody who is coming to say, this area, I want to open a shop to sell fabrics. First of all, who is your buying population? If you come, you are selling 100,000 naira fabric. Meanwhile, the area is an area that they only buy Ankara of 6,000. You are not likely to get the patronage that you deserve, because somebody that is going to buy 100K is likely in another area and they will not travel all the way down to you. They may not. Okay, so these are all things being equal examples, because sometimes there are several things that come into play that finally determine what eventually happens. But these are examples of all things being equal, right? Somebody that is buying fabric, selling fabric, selling clothes. Let me put it that way. Don't sell 100,000 naira clothes in an area where they can only afford 3,000. If then you are in an area where they only buy okrika, they buy fairly used, then you come and you are bringing the new one, you are not likely to get patronage from that environment. So do your market research. Competitive analysis. What do I bring that my competitors don't have? What do they have that I don't have? Understand where your gaps are. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? This is not sentiment. This is a real question of this person has connection to, let's say, assume you are selling palm oil. They have a good, what's it called? A good source of palm oil in Cross River. And this area we are living in called, they like Cross River palm oil. Me, I don't have. I only buy from Oyingbo. Meanwhile, that person is shipping it into Lagos. Understand that, but your question now will be, okay, what's an area that I'm strong so that I can be able to overcome this weakness where I don't have relationship in Cross River? Okay, so these are just very, very, very practical examples of competitive analysis. What do I have and what do I not have? Very important, two sides of the same coin, so that you can be able to position yourself properly in the market. Some people, what they do very, very excellently is customer service, where even if the thing is more expensive, you prefer to buy from them because the way they treat you is nice. You go to a store, madam, how much is this thing? They will be frowning as if you are not going to spend your money. And you're like, I don't like the way they treat me there, even though it's cheap. You will go to another place where it's more expensive because you love the way, oh, good morning, ma. You're welcome, ma. What would you like to have from us today? So nice to have you, ma. How are you? How's the family? You like that kind of engagement. And because of that, you prefer to spend more money than to go to somewhere cheap. Another thing that is also important is your financial forecasting. At the end of the day, if we are selling this thing for 1,000, how many can we sell in a month? That will make sense, because we are looking at things like rent, assuming that the business involves a store or an office. You're looking at rent, you're looking at equipment, you're looking at power supply, okay? You are looking at the, what's it called, the day-to-day inventory. So for example, maybe you run a business that involves printing. You need paper, you need ink in your printer, right? Those things, you're looking at everything together and you're saying, if we sell only 200,000 naira in a month, and the money we are spending on all these things is 150,000, then the balance is 50K. Is it worth investing my time and my effort so that I only collect 50,000? Those are some of the questions. You need to do financial forecasting, okay, to assess your idea's viability, the potential profitability, and what are even the investments required. What's the finance that I need to put into this thing for it to actually blow to the extent that it will make sense for me? This systematic approach will help you transform something from just an idea to a detailed business opportunity. Okay, I hope we're together so far. Let me know if you have any questions as we move to our next slide. Okay, so this was an example from the US, but let me just bring it home. Let me see. You know, there was a time in Nigeria where to watch a movie, right, we will buy CD. So you buy CD, you DVD, sorry, not CD, DVD to watch. You buy the DVD, whatever, right? Sometimes it will not even work. Some people looked at that problem and they moved it and they changed it. You know, that time there was this, you will go and borrow CD. You can't remember, I don't know the ages and stages of people on this call, but there was a time that we're borrowing CD in Nigeria, where instead of buying CD, you will go to a store, you will borrow 5 film, then you will tell you that return it in 2 days time. Can any of us remember that time? I know we now have YouTube, we have DSTV, we have all those sort of TV, we have the one on our phones, but there was a time in Nigeria where we used to borrow CD from. I remember very clearly, renting of CD. Thank you. We rent the CD from the store. Then the time now came where we were putting film on our laptop, that we start renting video club. So these people moved that idea of video club. And today, you know, many of us, maybe not many of us, if you know Netflix of today, you can watch movies on Netflix. Usually you pay a subscription, but today most people are not paying. They're just using other people's subscription. But the point is that rather than moving from place to place, borrowing CD, they moved all those movies to online. And that's something that the problem that these people are solving, right? They observed the customer pain. At that point in time, there was a competitor called Blockbuster, right? Those ones, if you return the film late, they'll pay the CD late, you will pay money. Okay, and the people were not happy. So Netflix then brought a different model, okay, where you subscribe to rent, and they removed late fees, and then you can rent the film for longer. Okay, now of course there was a market need they were meeting at that point in time, which was people wanted to be more flexible when they borrow CD. They don't want the one that when you don't return it fast, they will now be charging you, they will now be paying big money. So Netflix filled in that gap. And then they disrupted the market. So again, customers went from being frustrated and eventually they were happy. Now today we have streaming on Netflix, not even CD again. Okay, so that's just an example of taking that idea from an existing idea to identifying, okay, what is the need, where is the gap, and then commercializing it to what it is even till today. I believe we still have a few more minutes for our break, so let's move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so what is the process? I believe we can take our break just after this slide. You generate an idea. Okay, so what are the problems? Well, which one do I want to do? And let me just be clear. And I tried to mention it earlier, but let me just repeat it, is that it doesn't have to be something so grand, For example, the problem is that many women, when they want to do party, they cannot find good fabric. So you decided that you will be going to get lace from, where do they get lace from now? There was this Switzerland, Swiss lace. Of course, Swiss lace is expensive lace. It's not a cheap lace, but that's just an example. It doesn't have to be something so grand. The children in my area, they don't have a good lesson teacher. The lesson teacher the lesson teacher tabons, and so the students, their English is not polished. As much as you are paying school fees, the teacher in the school is not having enough time with them to teach them spoken English. The lesson teacher is speaking wrong grammar, and so your children are speaking in a way that you don't like. You want them to have British accent, So that is a problem. I'm just giving us, and I know I was joking just now, but the point is that it doesn't have to be something so big, like you want to build an aircraft. It can be something so small, right? But again, the idea generation phase is that you spot problems, you observe trends, and you then brainstorm potential solutions. Now, these potentials, you take them and you evaluate them rigorously. You test them that is this thing, as much as I'm saying I want to be a lesson teacher, how many students can I teach to the extent I will be able to make good money that will support my lifestyle? And then the market potential for that idea. Okay, now that you have said, okay, now this idea is a good one, then you now begin to plan. And we'll talk about the business plan later. You formulate a detailed business plan, including the strategy. How do I go about even recruiting people for this, my business? Operations, marketing, financial projection. Then now it's time for you to launch. After planning, you now bring that product to the market. Okay, now that we have created this extension box, that instead of having three spots, it now has 6. Okay, we imported it from China. We want to be selling it to Nigeria. That's that way you now begin to sell and get customer feedback. And then beyond that is now the idea of growth and scaling. That's, you've tested it for a few months in Lagos. You now want to go and open a store in Port Harcourt, or you want to start shipping from Lagos to Port Harcourt. Now that you know that the product is very, very good, you refine the offering based on the market response, and then you can now expand your business's reach and operations. So this journey takes it from just an idea to a flourishing business, which is followed by a structured process. You repeat it, you keep repeating and improving until you are able to actually scale that idea. It's exactly 12 o'clock, so I'm going to hand you over to the Transformation College team for instructions for the break, and then we can continue when we return. Madam Mercy, I don't know if you're here.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we'll be going on a very short break now. We'll be back at exactly 12:30 p.m. Nigerian time. Please do not go too far. Thank you so much. Please. You can take it off from here, Ma. Thank you.
Please, can you just confirm that my screen is visible?
It's visible, yes. Writing the business plan, yes.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for your participation in the first half. We have about an hour to go and still a bit of ground to cover. So hopefully we can make it very fast, but still engaging and full of insights and learning. Okay, so as I said before, if you have any comments, any questions, feel free to put them in the chat section as we go ahead. So initially we talked about going from an idea, to a viable business, right? I'm going to talk about something that is very, very important, which is a business plan and how it's important for your success. Okay, so why is a business plan important? Well, oh, my video is off. Sorry about that. Put it on. Just a minute, please. Okay, so 1 minute. Okay, good. So, as I was saying, a business plan matters because it serves as a strategic roadmap for your business, right? And then it guides your growth, it provides clarity and direction. So once you've narrowed down to an idea and you recognize that it's viable, right? You now create a plan that shows, okay, how do we really bring this thing to the market and really make it to succeed in a way that is profitable for us? It also helps you to attract investments. When they are looking for finances for their business, the question that they are asked is, what's your business plan? What do you plan to do? Can we see it? Right. So that's important. And then it helps you to clarify your goals as well, anticipate challenges, manage finances effectively, and also ensure a sustainable operation. Because when you look at the plan, it has several sections, and these address these key areas of finances, risk, goals, and then operations for your business. Okay. So one of the very first sections is your executive summary. And many people actually advise that you write this last rather than first, because it provides a summary of what is within your plan. It talks about, it describes your business concept, your mission, it articulates your core purpose. Then it highlights the leadership. Who do you have on your team? What do they do for the team? Your location of your businesses and the key achievements, so that you can be able to establish credibility. So for example, if you say, we started in 2020 and so far we've sold 10 million naira worth of blah, blah, blah. We sold 10 million naira in our first year. Our second year, we did 20 million. Third year, we did 50, so on and so forth. It gives them credibility that, okay, this person is actually running a business and they're doing quite well for themselves. Then it helps you to state your financial needs. We want to spend 5 million naira in 2026 so that we can be able to generate 15 million naira in revenue. I'm just giving some very random numbers, but the idea is that it helps you to articulate your financial needs to your growth plans to your stakeholders so that they can know, what is available, what you are aiming for, and how you intend to achieve what you are aiming for. Okay, so one of the key components is defining your business and your market. We're talking about the business plan, as I said, and so you detail your unique value proposition, right? Beyond the fact that you are selling water, what does this water help your customers to achieve, right? It helps them to celebrate events. It helps them to refresh their bodies, okay? So what's the value? Why is this water different from all other options available? You describe that in your business plan. Your target audience, who are you targeting for this, your bottled water? Is it when you say, I know this is a small bottle, I don't know if you can see it, I know my background is blurred, but this is a small bottle of water, right? Targeted at those who they don't like to get big bottle, because usually when they get big bottle, they drink it halfway and they waste it. Or those that are doing a party and they know that people tend to waste water, so they just give them small bottles so that as they drink that small bottle, they finish it, they can get another one. Who is your target market? Be as detailed as possible. Don't just say Lagosians. Okay, bring it down. People living in Ikeja, families of 4 in Ikeja, families of 4 with 2 children in Ikeja, families of 4 with 2 children in Ikeja, with children in secondary school, bringing it down. Secondary schools such as Corona, Chrisland, you are looking for some high-end secondary, so you're as detailed as possible, right? Your market edge, analyze your competitors and industry trends and find and exploit your own competitive edge, okay? Also, you need to set clear goals and strategy. We always talk about SMART objectives, specific. When you are saying that, what are your goals for 2026? We want to grow the business. That's not specific enough. It's not measurable. It may be achievable, you may grow the business, it's not realistic, and then it's time bound because, okay, you're saying 2026. But let's bring it and make it more practical, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound, SMART goals. What does that mean? In 2026, we want to sell to 50,000 customers, right? That is beyond we want to grow. We want to grow. Everybody wants to grow. But when you say growth, how do you measure that? That goal is very specific. It is measurable. When you are checking your books and you don't see 50,000 customers, you know you did not achieve it. When you see 60,000, you know that you exceeded that goal. Achievable, that will be determined by what are you doing presently. If you are doing 35 and you can ramp up to 50, then okay, that's really achievable and realistic. And it is time bound. It's 2026 that you want to achieve that. Marketing and sales. Okay, we are saying we want to sell to 50,000 customers. How do you bring these people into your business? How do you attract them so that they can actually buy from you? Okay, so that's marketing and sales, right? And you must be able to present your product. I talked about it earlier, your benefits in a way that customers can relate with your value proposition and desire to release that money to your business. What are some clear milestones and timelines? Within the first 3 years, we're going to sell 10 million naira worth of goods, right? And then after the first 3 years, we're going to increase that number to 15. Essentially, whatever makes sense for your business. So people, they start off, their first revenue is 100 million because of the sector that they are in. Other people, their first revenue is 1 million naira. But just show some clear timelines, what you desire to do. We're starting with Lagos, but by the end of 2026, we would have expanded to Port Harcourt and Abuja. We are starting with one branch, which is only in Nigeria. By the end of 2027, we intend to start selling to other West African countries, Ghana and Togo inclusive. Make it realistic, give it some timelines and certain milestones. We want to have a team of 6 by July 2026. By December, we intend to have built that to 10 people. Just give us some milestones and some timelines, okay? Now, your financial plan, very, very important. What are your sales forecasts? We intend to sell, we estimate that we'll sell to 50,000. Each person will buy 10,000 worth of goods. That means to get your sales forecast for that period is 50,000 minus 10,000. Very, very basic mathematics in that sense, okay? So just project, okay, this is our 2026 projection. By 2027, again, all of these are just projections and estimations, but don't make it too extreme, because you can't say we went from, well, it depends on the sector, right? But let's just assume we did 50 million in 2026 as our estimate. By 2027, you may do 65, you may do 60. But if you now say from 50 million, you jump to 1 billion, I don't know. Well, if you can describe how you're going to achieve that feat, maybe your investors will be convinced, or even you yourself. But look at your sales projections and make them realistic as possible. You may want to do a 15% year-on-year, okay, growth. Expenses outlay. As much as you are making money, there's money that you use to make that money. You may need to rent a place. You may need internet, staffing, marketing. You may need to get equipment. You may need to get FMCG. So, for example, you run an organization where you are providing tea and coffee to the staff. Those are some things that get renewed regularly. There's tissue paper for the toilet and so on and so forth, right? So detailed, all fixed, variable, and projected future costs so that you can ensure comprehensive budgeting. Your cash flow projection. Now, there's some businesses where they are still functioning, but there's no money again, and that causes a lot of problems. So be careful to state, okay, and some businesses as well, let me give an example. Those that supply supermarkets with snacks, they have a time before they pay. Some take 30 days, some take 90 days. So in that 90 days, if you have spent all your money to create chin-chin, unless you collect your money back, you cannot make another set of chin-chin. So your cash flow is very important. It ensures your business is still running for years to come. So please take note of that. What are some financial statements to include? Your income statement, right, which shows your profit and losses over a specific period, usually 1 year. Your balance sheet, what are the assets you have, both current and fixed, right? So, for example, your fixed assets could be your, let's assume you run a frozen foods business. Your freezer is a fixed asset, right? The chairs and the tables in your office are some fixed assets. Your current assets could be the money that people are owing you. Your buyers have not paid. That's a receivable, right? Okay, so just shows your company's asset and liabilities. The abilities are what you are owing others, and you need to pay up, whether it's long term or short term. And then equity is the ownership within the business. Are you the full owner? Are you sharing ownership with others? Cash flow, we talked about that already. How does money come in and go out? What do you predict? Please, especially if your business has lead time before money comes in, please pay attention to your cash flow, because you may still be having new orders, but you don't have money to fulfill, and that could kill the business. Okay, funding needs and the use of capital. One of the things you need to explore, you need to state in your business plan is, okay, we need 10 million naira to be able to launch. What are you using this money for? Okay, where exactly out of that 10 million, we're using 5 million to do rent and also to stock up the office with fixed assets. Okay, one of the problems of Nigeria is that we always talk a lot about recurrent expenditure without spending much on those that are fixed, and that could be an issue within your business. So balance it out. What do you need for the fixed assets and expenditure, and then what do you need for the day-to-day running of your business? Okay. um Expected returns. You are looking for money. Nobody gives anything for free. Okay, so you tell us that if you give me 10 million, I will give you 13 million after 2 years. Depend on the business, depend on what you are doing with your investors, but show to them what are they likely to get back if they invest in you. Management and operations. Who is your leadership team? Who do you have? If you say you are doing a consulting business, right? Are you the only consultant? Do you have other people that work with you? Who is your team? Okay, organizational structure, starting from the CEO down to the officers within the managers, the senior managers, the VPs. At the beginning, to be honest, you may not have everybody filling that role, but give it an overview and think, what is the structure that our business is going to follow, and what are the key roles, within the business. If you already have a business at the moment, it helps to define this as well, because it shows your people that you have planned for their growth, right? And then operational plans, the day-to-day run of the business. How do you intend to do that towards achieving your goal? You said, okay, I want to sell 50,000. How do you break that down into month per month, day by day, so that by the end of the year, you'll be able to achieve that goal that you have set? Okay, so bringing it all together, your roadmap to growth. A comprehensive plan is your ultimate tool for business success, because it aligns your vision with action, and then it provides you a clear path forward. You have said you want to achieve this with your business. How do you do that? That's what the business plan details, step by step. And let me just say this, that it's easy to get templates online for the particular business. Then you settle down and fill up information with what applies in your own case. It's also dynamic. It's not once at the beginning of the business in 2020 when we started. That's the first time I created an effort. The last time, no, I've updated as much as possible as the market changes to reflect your own growth and the changes in the market, as well as the new insights that you are getting. Use your plan to inspire confidence. I'm not just thinking from my head. I've written it down. We have a plan, okay? And then people can say, okay, let's come along with you because we like what you are doing, okay? What are some essential skills? Somebody asked earlier. Somebody said, this was one of the expectations for the class, to know how to manage their team, how to manage their operations. So what are some skills that are essential to managing your business, okay? And why? So let me just say why it's important. There's a high failure rate for business, so it's important for you to have skills. When you say you are an entrepreneur, right? And it also, there's an increased. Sorry, just a minute. When you are skilled, when you gain the right skills, it helps to increase your survival possibilities, your chances of survival and growth, right? And then, of course, it's imperative strategically, because if you are saying that you are in a sector where, for example, let me give an example that involves skills. We make crochet sweaters and headgear, and then you don't have anybody that can knit. It's not balancing, So strategically, you must be equipped, because that also gives you a competitive edge over your competitors. As a banking, let me give an example. As a bank, being able to attract top minds ensures that you are leading when it comes to talent, and you're able to also deliver value to your customers. So very, very important why you should you should master those business skills. Okay. Now, leadership, and this is a very key area. A lot of people are not able to retain staff. And let me be honest with you, I've also had this challenge as well in business, because you are a small business, you don't pay so well, and then people come again, you're not really inspiring them. They don't feel that there's any room for growth. They are doing it all. There's not this, there's not that. So as a leader, you must be able to inspire your team. Show them what is possible. This is where we want to go, right? Share with them your vision and believe that they are there to assist. Many times people think, all these staff self, they are not even, they're only looking after their own good. Let it be a mutually beneficial relationship, because you also are looking to make your business grow. That's why you have hired them. So let it also be that you are also delivering value to them. And let me go back to that matter of organizational structure. If I see that when I joined as an officer, but within 3 to 5 years, I can move to manager, it shows me that there's a potential for growth within this business for me as well, because everybody again is looking for their own career development. So inspire them as a leader, motivate them, help them to adapt, guide them. Don't just say, I taught you this thing, why are you not learning it? It involves reiteration. You teach, you retrain. Don't also, there's this saying that if I train them, won't they run away? And if you don't train them, what are they going to deliver within your business? That's a very, very important question that I heard. I think it was Mrs. Sarah Feladrose asked that question, that if you don't train them, what is the negative impact on your business? So please, let's balance that out. There might be challenges. Definitely people want to move on to other things that are bigger than your company, but don't hold back your own growth simply because you are like, they will leave, so I don't want to train them. Okay. Take note of that. Emotional intelligence. A lot of bosses, you insult, you shout, and that leads to demoralization of your team. For example, a father of 4 at home, a big man in his household, then you come and you say, you are very stupid, Chinedu, very stupid. The way he's going to feel at that job, it will demoralize him. He may feel disrespected. Again, it has nothing to do with his skills, but his mental state, because you are not able to manage him, he may begin to just look down on himself that I'm so stupid, despite having finished with a 2-1. And is actually able to do that job. But out of your own lack of emotional intelligence, you do not communicate properly, and he's feeling down, and that affects his delivery of your job. So please, let's take care of not just the mental intelligence, but the emotional intelligence as well. Being able to balance your own emotions, and recognizing that your team also will have their own days as well. Marketing. Now, we say we have built this wonderful product or service. How do we take it to the customer and make them believe that ours is the best? And the truth is, you must have a budget for marketing. Coca-Cola, we have known them since we were young. Till today, you still see share a bottle of Coke. You will see different innovations. I remember one time that what they were doing was, what's it called? Your name on a Coke bottle. So when you go to the store, you're looking for your name. Emeka, Emeka, where is Emeka? Where is Emeka? Where is Fumi? Where is Fumi? Where is Fumi? Where is Alima, Lima? Because they are innovating daily. So marketing, you must think about, how do we communicate, especially because most times you are a small business. How do we communicate this thing that customers will say, yes, I want to patronize this business? And there's something that people are using a lot these days, which is storytelling. A business that is showing you the behind the scenes. This is how we do it. This is how we produce your shea butter cream, right? It makes people to feel, okay, this is how they are doing it. Let me just buy Sha. That inspires them to patronize you, hearing your customer, hearing your business story. Okay, so marketing is the engine of growth, achieved by deeply understanding your customers' needs and crafting compelling value proposition. When you say, this is why you should choose us over the other laundry service. This is why our laundry service is top notch and why you should choose us. Okay, so it always delivers value to you, even for years to come, when you spend the right effort and then the finances on the marketing. Beyond the money, sometimes you see an advert and you're like, I didn't even see how to buy this thing. You saw this, it's very nice. I'm thinking, I like this dress. So, how do we buy? No information. So always have a call to action. This is just by the side, right? Your marketing must be met with a call to action. This is how you can contact us to get this service or product. Okay. Operations, your day-to-day, how is the business run? What are the processes? Document. This is very important for us as small businesses. The day you are not there, can they pick up your SOP, standard operating procedure, and replicate that thing? For example, whenever we pick a call from a customer, we say, hello, good morning, ma. Welcome to Mercy Fashion Design House, right? My name is Cynthia. How can I serve you today? You have a standard template. So anybody that is calling, whenever they call, even if it's Cynthia, even if it's Chukudi, even if it's and Abigail, whoever it is, whoever they're engaging with, gives them the same customer experience. Okay. Also, in terms of your operations, you must think of quality control. How do we check that this thing? And that's why companies ask for feedback all the time. After this call, there's going to be a feedback form. Be as truthful as possible because it helps the organization to improve what they are doing. Cost efficiency, knowing that, okay, it's better for us to buy. Let me give an example. Let me bring it to the household. A woman that goes to Mount 12 once a month is because she has done a calculation that if I buy carton and the cost of going to the market in terms of my time, in terms of, being able to save more, it makes more sense for me to buy once a month. So you create efficiencies by also understanding your operations. You are able to do, for example, bulk purchases. You are able to also negotiate with your suppliers based on your understanding of your operation. You also minimize expenses when you are able to properly design your operations. Then you must be agile, reduce waste. Not that. Let me give an example. A business that is a caterer, a catering business, right? They are deliberate about not always having their fixed staff, but they are also staff that only join them when they have a job to deliver. We are catering for this 70th birthday. I need 10 waiters. It's not that you employ waiter for the entire month and then they are not doing anything from Monday to Friday. On the Saturday, you don't have job. They're also not doing anything. So understanding your operation, you're able to reduce waste and operate a lean business so that you are able to save up on costs and be able to maximize your revenue per time. All right. So Toyota is a very good example. You can read up on their story, how across their production line, they maintain efficiency for themselves as a business. Finances. This is very important for both you and your potential investors. And it's a language of business sales. When we look at the finances, we say, okay, this business from January to December, how much did you actually generate? When we go and print your bank statement, how much did the business make? How much did you spend? And what is left for both yourselves and if in any case you have investors? That is when you now look at it, that is it even worth it? Is this business sick? Do we need to give it CPR and jack it up? Or is it doing well and we need to just keep watering it as a plant so that it can flourish more? Look at your cash flow, liquidity and solvency. When it comes to we want to buy in bulk, we need 50 cartons of, let's assume you are selling noodles. We need 50 cartons. Each carton is 4,000. 50 times 4 times 4,000, you need about 2 million to restock, but we only have 500,000. It's also affecting how much you can bring into your business. Your profitability analysis, after doing it all and you subtract all the costs, maybe you're only making 200,000 per month, right? Is it worth it for you? And this is a very, very, oftentimes, if you don't have investors, it can be a personal question. For some people, 200,000 is wow, save money. For others, it's like, you mean I work from Monday to Friday, month to month, and only 200,000 what I can bring out from this thing is not worth it for me. So you must look at your profitability and also adjust. Sometimes you are expending unnecessary costs. Give an example: you go to a supermarket, and the way the staff they are packing things, they are wasting nylons. As a business owner of that supermarket, you must be able to identify, hey, this is an area of costing. Our packaging is costing so much, and it's affecting our ability to be profitable. Let us adjust our costing for packaging so that we can make more in the business. Okay. And of course, your finances help you to make informed decisions. You are able to know, okay, in the last month, there's this thing that is called the Pareto principle, right? 80-20, which means 20% of your customers generate 80% of the value. Who are these people that buy the most from us? Sometimes the most problematic customer are those spending 10,000, whereas those spending 1 million, they are there and they are not giving you trouble. They're the ones who should put in more effort, all things being equal, to nurture so that they can be delivering more value to your business. Okay. Now, how do you integrate certain skills for your own strategic advantage? When you are able to balance leadership with marketing, with operations and finance, and you are highly skilled in these 4 areas, you are able to produce better results for yourself as a business. So true business acumen is ability to blend leadership, marketing, operations, and finance. As I said, talked about those things individually. They have an important part to play in how your business comes together. Leaders with these skills, and understand that where you don't have those skills, you can have people on your team that fill up. Some people are not good at marketing. You don't enjoy engaging people. But when it comes to operations, where you make a customer promise that within one day, if you order with us on our website, within one day we will deliver. You are behind your operations to ensure that that thing is well delivered. But going to engage with people in terms of marketing and sales, you don't enjoy it. So you know your weaknesses and you're able to fill in those gaps. Okay. So align your team. Understand that where you don't know, your team can, and don't be threatened. Some people say that if you are the most intelligent person in the room, you are in the wrong room. As a business owner, if you are the most intelligent, everything they're always coming to yoga. How do we do this? So, madam, please, I need to. It's not even good for your scaling, because you need to be able to have people that can work when you are not there. Okay, so balancing these four ensures that as a business owner, you're able to generate the greatest value for yourself and also your investors. Okay, so how do you develop these skills? The wonderful thing about the world we live in today is that before you open your eye and close, you've seen Coursera, you have seen free platforms, you have seen YouTube, you have seen TikTok. So you must be deliberate about making out time for yourself as well as your team. Training is necessary. It's not a nice to have, right? It's very, very important. And you must identify, okay, this person is a customer service. What are some of the skills that they need? Negotiation could be one in a case where the customer was not satisfied with the product, and you need to decide, how do we refund them, or how do we appease them to ensure that we don't lose the money that they have given to us, and then we don't also lose their patronage, because you want them to return to you multiple times. That's the goal of your business, right? So continuous learning for yourself, engage in online courses, seek mentorship. I personally have a mentor who was in business for like maybe 18 years. So it's not somebody who you are just starting. So you want to know, yes, what has been happening in the sector before I came, and what does the person see about the future. Gain practical experiences through reward application. Sometimes you need to take an internship. I interned with my mentor for about a month. I resume in the office in the morning. We go to the market together. We deliver to our customers together. My eyes were being opened to where there were lapses within my own business. Cross-functional experience, move around within the business. Sometimes some people like to say, this manager is manager of customer service, but let me take this person to procurement so that they can also learn. And it also builds empathy, because as a team member that understands this person, this is what this person is going through. Now, wow, I understand now why I should be able to support them. Okay. It helps to gain a holistic understanding when you have cross-functional, that's you move from department to department, right? Embrace data analytics. Your figures are not just for decoration. Let them guide you. If you recognize that because we're buying every day, the money we spend to go to the market is 5,000. 5,000 times 20 working days is 100,000 naira in a month. What if we could reduce that to buying twice a week? You'll be able to save some money, and you'll be able to get economies of scale, that you buy more and save and buy at a cheaper rate. Okay, so use the tools available to you, the data, to make decisions across leadership, marketing, operations, and finance. All right. The human element, you can't do it alone, and people must be able to work with you, right? Your leadership must be empathetic. See, there are some guys that unless you like them, you must be in the office every day and night. And the ability of your staff not to tell you the truth can mean that they can disappoint you on an important day, simply because your policies are very, very restrictive. They choke the staff. Okay. So there are people behind every department that you are, every skill that you are willing to, or every, what's it called, business area that you want to develop needs team members. So understand that these are real people. They have their own motivations. And when hiring as well, understand the person's motivations. You are not just interviewing them for their competencies. What do they desire for their lives? And how can that align with the organization? The culture of the organization is also very important. If you are an organization that values timeliness, you now meet a perpetual latecomer, they will spoil things for you. if you have a promise, a time promise that within 3 hours we deliver your, I don't know, your food if you order from us, then you now see somebody that was there. I will let's deliver tomorrow, Jare. That person does not fit with the culture of your business. So recognize that for what it is. Now, how under operation, there's an example that they gave you, Amazon. It's a global e-commerce giant, right? Operating primarily in the US. And because of the fact that they were able to create a logistics operation for themselves, they're able to handle 150 million packages every week. So that's to show you that on the operation side, they've built a team that can deliver that. All right, finance as well. On we know Warren Buffett, right? His ability to hone his own financial skills, ensure that his company, that's Berkshire Hathaway, is what it is today. And the people that invest through that firm know what they're making. So this is real people are behind delivering value in your business. Never underestimate that, because your team can make or mark the company's experience. If you come to an office, you came to make your hair, and the staff, they are bickering, they are fighting. The next time you're like, this, as much as I like the hairstyle, they are very good though, they are skilled though, but I don't like the way they fight. And that could push people away from your business. So there are people behind every of your business areas. Pay attention to them as you work with them to deliver your business objectives. Now, your business success starts here. Growth and resilience. It's important to help you navigate challenges and achieve sustainable success. I talked about it before, that being able to bounce back because challenges will come. Lead and innovate. You are the lead, you are the head of your organization, right? You need to be able to lead them and show them that, okay, this is possible. This is how we do this here. Innovate boldly. When people give ideas, don't shut them down. See how we can, there's something that is called entrepreneurship. That is within your business, people that are also like generating, they have that business leadership, they have ownership within the business, right? Manage your resources wisely, invest in your future. Look at every time we talk about this story of Nokia and how Android and Co, Samsung and Co came and they knocked Nokia away because they couldn't innovate in the future. They couldn't innovate and think futuristically. Don't be caught up in that trap as well as a business, right? Think about where the market is going and how you can position yourself for the future. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm taking the chat. Now, so let's talk about funding. How do we fund? We have this great business idea. Where are we getting the money from? Okay. Why does it matter? Of course, you need money to run. Okay. And cash flow is critical. 90% startups fail in the US because they don't have money to run their day-to-day. They may have requests, as I said. You may have a big order. You have somebody that's requested for 100 bed sheets, but you don't have money to produce the bed sheet, and you cannot fulfill that order, which means your business has to close. So it's not just about getting money, but being able to use it right to build your business. Choosing the right funding source. We'll talk about that in a bit, right? And let's just move on to that as we go. Loans. Borrowing to grow. Nigeria, if you hear the loan rate for some, it depends on the establishment. Some people borrow from microfinance, they borrow from BOI, Bank of Industry. Some people borrow from commercial banks. Just understand the terms and conditions. Some look so good. It's only 2% per week. When you calculate everything for the 52 weeks, you will see where that money, you will see that you are paying practically 100% of what you are owing. So be very careful about, when it comes to loans, identify what are the interest rates, what are the payment terms. Try to negotiate as best as you can for the longest time with the shortest, what's it called? With the shortest, with the lowest return rate possible. Let me give an example. You want a 5% loan, but then it's payable in 3 years' time. It gives you enough time to really do the work and put that money to work so that you can be able to pay back those that have loaned you that money. Okay, these are some US examples, so I'll just jump that. But of course, with a loan, somebody borrowed you their money, they're expecting repayment, and it must come with interest. So don't allow the interest that will choke your business to be the kind of loan that you accept. Be careful about the terms and conditions. Another source of funding is investors, right? And most times they share an ownership stake. Recently, somebody was fired from the business that they founded because they have investors. Now, They may give you good money, they may give you good advice. They often also bring their own relationships. That's the thing about investors. If, for example, Dangote is my investor, right? His connect is accessible to me because he wants my business to succeed so that he can also recoup the money he put in me. That's the good thing about investors. However, you also need to think about what are they asking of me. Some people require an ownership stake. They may tell you for 10 million naira, we will take 50% of your business. Some may ask for 51, which means you're no longer the highest owner of that business. So think about that. What I would say, somebody said something that 10% of 1 billion, or let me make it smaller. 10% of 10 million is better than 100% of 50K. So being able to pull resources together is what you get. Percent of 10 million is 1 million. 100% of 50,000 is just 50,000. So 10% you are only owning a lower percentage. However, in terms of value, you have more value. So think about that. We have angel investors who are, most times high net worth individuals. They have a bit of money, and they are willing to give you capital in exchange for equity or debt. That's debt as in borrowing, right? They bring industry expertise and their networks. We also have venture capitalists. We hear about some businesses in Nigeria. They were able to attract $1 million in their seed stage or in their Series B funding. They are venture capitalists, but some of them can be very, very, it can be like a shark seeking to chop what you have. So be very careful about that, right? Equity versus control. That's that they have ownership. You have to give up ownership of some portion of your business. And they can fire you. As I said, somebody was recently fired, from the business that he built simply because there's now a board of directors that goes beyond I'm the business owner. I have 50%, so take note of that when you are looking for funding. Grants, I love this one, and I've been able to benefit from a few of them. Free money, with strings attached sometimes, and sometimes without strings. Let me give an example. I attended a program by Faith Foundation, right, and Facebook. And one of the benefits for people who I did a pitch, and I think I emerged as the highest scorer. I think I was number one, right? And the grant was 5,000 US dollars ad credit on Facebook. That is, I had 5,000 at my disposal to use for adverts on Facebook, right? I've also won a grant of 1 million naira before. I pitched my business. They gave me 1 million. No string. They did not come back to ask me anything. Okay. Some of them may have terms and conditions. There are some grants that they call them, I'm forgetting the name now, but where if they give you 1 million, you must, the matching grants, exactly, matching, you must match it with your own 1 million as well. They don't give you free money. Then some timelines must be met. Yes, it's free money, but if you say that within 6 months we will sell 1 million naira, within 6 months, if you're not able to meet that target, they will not give you the money. So some grants come with such terms and conditions. Be aware of that. But generally speaking, grants are usually like when a company gives a student scholarship and they say, go and learn with our own money. So in business, grants allow you to, spend other people's money, right? Of course, to get free money, you must be willing to put in the work. Some of them involve essays, some of them are competitive because everybody is looking for the money now. You may see 1,000 applications. You may need to pitch before an audience, right? There's a high demand for them. Personal savings, your first capital. When I was working, I put together a little savings of so and so amount. That's what I want to use to start my business. Of course, it gives you a debt-free launch. You don't need to start borrowing money. You are the owner of the money that you're using to start. It signals commitment. Some people as investors, when they are coming in, okay, what's your own skin in the game? That's what they ask you. What did you put before you say you want to collect our own money you came here to ask for 10 million. How much did you put? So it shows that you also are committed to your business idea. Of course, it is your personal risk. There are some families where one of the partners has gone to use the joint money from the joint account to run business. Then the business now fails. And then there's a family problem because, of course, there's a risk that what you have put in, you may not be able to recoup. So be aware of that as well, that your personal finances, if you say that you use all your savings to do business, then the business fails, you are back to square one. So pay attention to that. So let's compare these options. A loan, what's it called? A loan means that you are now in debt of somebody. So you are owing somebody money, simple and short. It has predictable payments. You have a timeline. Okay, you're owing us for 1 year. Every month you must give us 10%. But of course, it gives you quick access to capital and you own your business completely. When people borrow you money, they don't tell you, I want to own part of it. This part on loans specifically, right? Of course, it requires repayment with interest, potential for collateral. Some loans require collateral, and of course, it can impact your cash flow because as the money is coming, you need to get a repayment plan that every month this amount goes out back to us to paying towards paying that loan. Investors usually come with either equity or debt. Equity is they own a particular stake in your business. Debt is you are owing them. You just give them 13% on top of what they gave you. Let's say out of the 10 million, 13%, 1.3 million. So by the time you're paying back 11.3. Or some people tell you, when I give you 10 million, I'm collecting 20% ownership of your business. What happens in this case? There's shared risk, often strategic mentorship. They guide you, access to their networks. They want you to succeed, and you have large capital. What are some of the downsides? There's lots of control or ownership. They have expectations for high returns. Venture capitalists will tell you that out of all the businesses, maybe it's only one that will succeed. And for them to that one that will succeed, of course, they need the high returns for it to balance out the losses that they have made. Then it can also be a lengthy fundraising process. Grants is free money, no repayment required. It boosts your credibility. It supports specific missions. Of course, the availability is limited. It's competitive. 1,000 people are applying for one single grant of 50,000 naira. Some cases, strict criteria. We want a business that has been running for 6 months, that has a team of up to 10 people, that is making 100 million annually. And often they can give it for a specific use. Savings, your personal capital, you have full control, no debt. It shows your commitment. However, the funds are limited because most people don't have a lot in their savings. It's a significant personal risk that you are taking. And of course, it can have a strain on your personal finances. So how do you choose the right funding? This is very, very business specific. But three of the ways you do that is you assess your needs. What do we need? How much do we need? Which area do we need? For example, if you are starting off and beyond the fact that you need money, you also need serious advice. You need somebody to back you up. You may want to look at angel investors, right? Evaluate your growth projections, understand your personal risk tolerance. Combine sources. You don't necessarily have to do only loan. You may do loan and personal savings. You may do personal savings and investments. Okay, seek guidance. Please, before you get into anything, before you sign that document, somebody said they want to give you 10 million. Wow, I'm so excited. He wants to give me money. Let there be some legal advice backing that up as well, because at the end of the day, when things get a bit interesting, let me use that word, you want to be sure that you are well protected within your own business. Okay. These are very US related, so I'll just skip this slide. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we're moving to the next section of our discussion today. What are some common challenges that entrepreneurs face and how do you overcome them? Okay. I like this. It says high stakes and high rewards. Many people talk about the fact that I know that if I start my business today, by the time I put in my time, I don't want to work for another person. When I work for myself, I'll be able to succeed. I'll make plenty money. Yes, the rewards, the potential is high, but the stakes are also high. Okay. And let me give this first one, constant uncertainty. There's this Yoruba saying, Ogata, Ogauta, you must collect your money, which simply means whether the business is succeeding or not succeeding, it's not your business as an employee, right? Your salary is 500,000. By 23rd, it must land in your account. Whereas as a business owner, if there's nothing coming in, that season is going to be dry for you. And if you are running a business, you've run a business before, you already know what I'm talking about. Some seasons are just so dry. Okay, so there's a lot of aside from this is now on the financial side, there's a lot of uncertainty. You started a business, you came in, you say you are doing tire. The government then banned importation of tire. You have imported so much, or you have there's some of your container from China. They now banned it. What next? The landscape is forever changing. They call it a VUCA world. It's volatile. There's many changes going on. There's uncertainty. You know, there's inherent risk. As much as we are saying there's reward, there's also risk, because for you to say you're investing something, even if you're investing in a bank, some people invested in banks, and today those banks are no longer in existence. Of course, there are hidden opportunities. Okay, setbacks can show you new paths. Some people, because of what happened during COVID, they decided to reevaluate their business model, and today they are thriving even much more. Like, if they didn't have that setback, they wouldn't have been able to progress further. I like to think of it like, when you draw a catapult like this, and you're able to go further because of how far you have drawn it. So that sometimes setbacks can be that way. They bring you back, but you are able to charge forward ahead. Okay. Now this gives us a statement. It says you are the pilot of your business plane, ready to navigate turbulence and chart a course to success. Okay. Now, challenge number one. This is the one a lot of entrepreneurs talk about. Why is your business not growing? No money, oh, I don't even have money, oh. So let's talk about it, right? Sometimes you may have a cash flow crisis. Many businesses fail because they don't have enough money, right? You need sound financial planning. Sometimes what you need is actually having suppliers who can supply you. You need suppliers credit, not necessarily money as in finances. You need suppliers credit. What is suppliers credit? Essentially, they give you goods for 2 months before they collect their money from you, or for 1 month. Of course, that is built based on trust. Okay. Limited, it can also limit your growth because you need some money to market your business. You don't have, need money to deliver a service you don't have, that could influence things. However, now there are some interesting ways that people are funding. There's something called crowdfunding. For example, somebody says, I'm bringing this innovation into the market, this remote, that instead of you looking for a remote in your house, this remote can do television, it can do AC, it can do, what else would you use remote for? It can do multiple purposes, right? But I don't have money to do it. Can you people join me? If you can pay for a remote today, 10,000 naira. When I launch it in July 2026, you'll be one of my owners. And this remote that we're selling by that time, we'll be selling it for 15,000. So I will give you 5,000 back. It's called crowdfunding, where you gather as many people as possible to give you money towards your business. Sometimes they also buy ahead. Of course, angel investors, bootstrapping. You call it you are very, very strict about what money goes out of the business so that you can sustain your business. Those are some of the ways to address this issue of financial constraints and funding gaps. Talent number 2, finding and retaining customers. I learned a difficult lesson at one point, that it's better to retain the ones you have than to set them aside and go and be looking for new customers. So customer retention should be a very big part of your strategy. How are we retaining the people we have, right? Build trust. You may need, for example, food stop business. It's not, if sometimes you see some things that are not good, you buy a yam that is not good. We have a refund policy, even for things that is not really our fault. That is just to build trust and ensure that customers come back again and again. Understand your business. How do we get these people to return after buying from us? Maybe you're running a cake business. You know that the man is always forgetting his wife's birthday, and the birthday is May 28th. By the beginning of that May, good morning, sir. Your wife's birthday is upcoming. Can we deliver a cake for you on May 28th? These people, thank you. Oh, you have saved my marriage. You don't want us to have problem in my home. Okay, so those are some of the ways that you can create interesting ways to retain your customers. Finding customers as well, you may want to explore what's it called? Referrals. Those that you currently have in your system. You know, when you use a platform like Uber, you say use this code, you get 10% off. You get 1,000 off if your friend uses your code. All of this is to, so you, when you 1,000 off, hey, oh yeah, oh, Oluyemi, please come and use my code so that you can get 1,000. Means I also get 1,000. You push the business more, you become an evangelist because there's something in it for you. It's a win-win for you and the business. Okay, so what are some strategies? Network and leverage referrals. Implement value-driven marketing. Don't just talk about the features, but the value to the customer. Maintain a consistent and engaging social media presence. This is a new one for us in this modern day. People like to go on social media to check your Instagram. When last they even post? 2022. No, are they still in business? What are they even doing? What are people saying about them? That's something that people are using a lot these days to make decisions. Reviews of your business. Building the right team. We talked about that under leadership earlier. But let there be an alignment of vision. If you say we want to build a business that will go global, and your team is thinking in terms of only Surulere, there's a problem there. Because when you are saying, let's go global, they are saying, oh God, please, let's stay here in Surulere. Okay, so find people that their values, their goals. If you're ambitious as a company, find people that are ambitious as well. If you are drawn back, whatever it is, I'm not judging anybody's your goal. You may decide I only want to do one show. That's fine, but find people that will fit in that environment, help you to fulfill that. Poor hiring decisions can lead to significant financial losses. You hire somebody, they what's it called? They they're not motivated. They also spoil the morale of other people. It can lead to serious financial losses. Or you hire a thief that also encourages other people to steal. Your business will not be happy because of that. Okay, so how do we resolve this? We should be strategic in our hiring. Have job description. It's not just for banks, it's not just for multinationals. As a small business, have a job description. Okay, I'm looking for customer service. What are some basic things? The person must have a pleasant attitude. They must be patient because customers will drive as in, and then somebody will just customers can insult a customer service agent, and the person's like, excuse me, ma, please don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to me like that in my home. So you need to be careful. Have a job description that describes both the competence, like the soft skills and the hard skills, beyond the fact that the person can pick phone call. How is their telephone presence? Are they smiling when they pick a call? Are they pleasant? Can they communicate your business's value? Yes, they can talk. They're very vocal. But what they say, are they polite in their speech? Okay. Conduct thorough interviews as much as you can. Don't just, well, one person apply, let me just give them the job. Prioritize cultural fit to build a strong and effective team. I think I talked a bit about culture before. What's the organizational culture and how does this person fit in to that culture? Okay. Navigating market competition and change. Okay. Of course, when there's competition, there's innovation, but there's also pressure because you are like, what are they even doing in that next business? Before they capture the market and I'm behind. Okay. So, of course, there's evolution. The market is changing. New people are coming in. As much as you are thinking, we are the only ones doing bakery in Adesanya Street. Then the next thing you are seeing, another bakery opens in the next compound doing the same bread. How do you respond, right? Embrace adaptability, be resilient, be adaptable. Okay, so sometimes you may need to look at your product offering. Maybe you now start doing another thing entirely. Okay, so in addition to bread, we're now doing cake. In addition to cake, we are now doing snacks. I went to Cakes and Cream the other day, and they are doing meat pie and sausages in addition to cakes and desserts. I'm like, okay, let's try it. So I'm sure that they are seeing a market need and they're trying to fulfill that. And let me just be also sorry, there was a time that I earlier on, when they started that snack thing, when you buy a certain size of cake, they will give you free sausage or free something. So free donuts, yes. So I can go and try the donuts. Next time you come, buy a donut. I like it to buy it. Let me get that in addition to my cake. You can see what people are doing. So view market changes as opportunities for growth and reinvention. Don't be hesitant to reinvent yourself. Okay. So strategy spotlight, cultivating resilience and a growth mindset. Always think of how to grow. If we see this picture here, we are seeing concrete all around, but this plant is able to still come up, shoot up in the midst of all those challenges. Pause and pivot. You may need to change your strategy. And we have always been doing what's it called? Offline school. Like Madam Taiwo says she's now doing online teaching. Maybe she started from offline, but she saw that now people are moving online. Children are getting iPad. Parents are looking for how to engage their children with useful content online. I saw somebody that did what's it called? Baby Shaggy Dudu Yoruba of it. Mama Shaggy, yeah, Shaggy. I was just laughing, but the point is that person is trying to teach Yoruba as a language and is innovating in that area. Okay. Mindfulness and gratitude, how to stay positive when things are happening. You are like, everywhere is so difficult. But I thank God. I don't know. I guess this is not a religious setting, but that could be how you remain. Okay, this is even still good. As much as there's challenges, this area is thriving in the business, and we can leverage this area for greater growth. Okay. Learn and grow. We talked about that before. Be open to learning. Learn from the failure as well. It didn't work, but what did we learn? I like this as a lot as a person, even in your personal life. this thing did not work. Okay, but what could I have done differently? Always ask yourself that so that you can refine your approach and strengthen your inner resolve. Okay, lead with conviction and patience. The people that they are working with, they are human beings. They have their emotions. Stay true to your vision. As much as things are challenging, don't go. You said we are going to Surulere, but now from Ikeda to Surulere, you've turned back. You started going to another area of town entirely. Stay true to your vision. Embrace patience. Rome was not built in a day. Entrepreneurship requires time. You know, those lofty goals. Within 1 year, we would have gone from Lagos to Port Harcourt to Calabar to Ibadan. And then it didn't quite play out like that. You may need patience. Okay. Inspire confidence in your team, and also in your external environment as well. And also, I'll say this, that don't be afraid to take responsibility for errors. You know, recently one of the banks, they did a system change that caused a lot of problems. They never spoke until months later when people have tried their load and moved on. So think about that as well, that as you make mistakes within your business, be open to addressing your customers and engaging them at time, right? Leverage resources and network. And I think we're coming to the end of our class today. There are people who you have in your, you may not, so there's this thing that people say that between you and the person you're looking for, there are, hey, I can't remember, is it five people, or is it three? I can't remember. And I was joking that, you mean if I want to meet President Trump today, there are only 5 people? And that's the truth. You may know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. That thing you're looking for, being able to get it through that. Okay, so the 7M's framework: optimize your manpower, that's your team; your money, that's the finances available to you; your materials, your machines; your methods, how you do the things you do; your markets; and your management, the team that leads everybody to be able to maximize efficiency. Sometimes it's your bosses that are causing problems. You are there as a CEO, and the people that you are put as management, they are suppressing the team members and not allowing them to thrive, and that's creating a lot of problems. So be sure that as much as you are sitting there as CEO, you are engaging with the lower level of staff as well. Seek guidance. We've talked about this before. Pursue mentorship. Don't also look for partners, people that are doing something similar. Don't think that you're on your own. Okay. Commit to continuous learning. Innovate with tech. Don't get left behind. AI is the new thing now. This ChatGPT, don't be afraid of it. Do a small course, free course. How can I even use this ChatGPT? And it's really very useful. And I believe Transformation College also has an AI course that you might also want to take, right? So use that to maintain a competitive edge. If we are all selling something, but somebody else is using tech, it pushes that business forward. Okay. Of course, your own entrepreneurial advantage. Every challenge allows you to reinvent yourself, reset your course. Okay, you may need to redefine your business trajectory. Sometimes you control the plane. We talked about it before. You are the pilot, so you may need to, as a driver, if you see your car going like this, you bring it back. Don't go to the left, don't go to the covert, come back, come back, come back. So be ready to correct. Okay, embrace setbacks as catalysts for growth, and innovation, right? And so your journey is just beginning. Own it with confidence and with passion. And I do believe we've come to the end of our session today. We're just right on time. Madam Mercy, I don't know if we have, because I know the second session was supposed to be for an hour, and we've completed that. I don't know if we have time for Q&A, or what you'd like us to do next. It's over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Ma. I really enjoyed the session, and I believe every one of us did same. Thank you so much. I believe it wasn't a waste of time to any one of us, right? Thank you for standing by. Please, any question? We've come to the end of the class. Can we ask our question? Feel free. The floor is yours. Okay, so while we are at that, the feedback form link is going to be sent to the chat room. Please do well to fill it up, and let's hear your feedback on today's class. Let's know how the delivery of today's class was, so that we can improve more on our service delivery. Okay. Thank you so much, Ma. I believe that today's class was really informative and engaging as well, because I noticed that there are no questions, meaning that people were following you as you were teaching. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, so without further waste of time, please just fill up the feedback form and then we can call it a day.
Sorry, I asked a question on the platform, please.
Okay, I was about to answer your question, Ma. So this class is actually it's been going on for a while. So we have a general group and a paid group. And for a long time now, for like a month now, we've only been sending materials to the paid group. So I don't know if you have registered for this course already, if you have registered, or if you have paid for the course. I don't know which of them, because usually we send slides to the group immediately after the class. I don't know if I've answered your question, Ma.
Okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure. All right, so I don't know, please, can we fill up the feedback form just in 1 minute so we can call it a day? As usual, the slides and the recording of this session is going to be sent to the group accordingly. And then also remember your test that is ongoing. Please, if you've missed any of the tests, try and do so. I believe that the link for last week's test has already been disabled. Thank you, Mr. Rick. Thank you. Mom, I don't know if you want to hear the comments. Rick says the lecture was very extensive and covered the basic and growth level of business. I will keep it for my resource to look back to. Thanks. Thank you so much, sir. All
Thank
right.
you very much for your feedback.
All right, everyone. So please do your test and please do it on time. If you have missed anyone for this week, go back and take your test. And then if you have any question, you can always drop it on the group and we'll always be there to give response to your enquiries. Thank you so much. Please, as usual, follow us on all of our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And from here, I will say thank you and do have a very beautiful weekend. A happy new month in advance to every one of you. It shall be a blessed one for everyone. Do have
Amen.
a
Thank you very much.
beautiful, yes, ma'am. Have a beautiful one.
You too. Thank you very much, our facilitator. God bless you.
Yes, ma'am.